done around here this morning.
Oh, it's actually why I thought I'd be as detailed and as early as I was.
It was great.
Yeah, I'll text you something about our 7:38 guest. Wehbe, by the way.
Yep.
I said, Fred, it's Freddie, by the way. He prefers Freddie. And I said, okay, Freddie. I go, I'm going to guess Wehbe. And he goes, yep, Wehbe jamming. I said, okay. Because when you meet Freddie, he's about as far away from Bob Marley as you can get.
I would imagine so.
But we be jamming. Have you seen Caitlin Clark's record-breaking shot?
Oh, yeah. Saw it last night.
That's awesome. She's Steph. She's Trey. She's fun.
Yep.
She complains a little bit too much about fouls. I really wish this generation had seen Michael. Michael just shook his head. I'm in Charlotte, Coffenbaugh. I'm in Charlotte. Got a big game tonight. Winner probably makes the playoffs. Loser probably misses.
All right.
Morning, Mongo. Morning, AJC.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Friday. And I know we said last week that we were done with the Football Fridays, but we've got two guests today, and both of them have an awful lot to do with football. So, Mark, how about for old time's sake, what's our show today?
A Football Friday?
Good morning, San Diego. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I come at you from Charlotte this morning, calling a college hoops game tonight. Mark is solo in the cozy confines. Trent had to head back to Michigan, all right, for a doctor's appointment. We hope all goes well. We're off on Monday, a reminder, best of on Monday. So we will all be back on Tuesday. So how was your Thursday night? Anything happen?
Just the normal Mr. Mom life for me, David. As you know, my daughter is a 3-sport athlete at the age of 9 because we don't have enough for her to do. And last night, 2 of those sports were played. Soccer practice at 6, followed by softball practice at 7:30.
Whoa, man, I don't ever remember having practice start at 7:30 on a school night when I was 9.
Well, first off, David, this is Lee County, Florida. We don't go to school all that often. Today they have the day off, 4-day weekend,
Wait.
President's Day.
What?
President's Day would look at it was a hurricane makeup day. That's all I know. I don't try to, I'm not going to argue with the school board, but today was a hurricane makeup day. They didn't feel they needed to make it up, even though we had a couple of days off for hurricane warnings in the fall. They're off today. But It doesn't matter whether they were on or off. They've Thursday night practice is 7:30 to 9, which I think is the coach thinks it's too late.
So apparently it's a field availability thing though, right?
Correct. There's only so many fields, and you practice when you get your practice time.
Right. Well, Mark, I have to admit, growing up, wanting to play ice hockey, and there were only a couple of rinks to rent time from. And Mark, we played many a hockey game at 3 a.m. because that's the only time that was available. And not only that, it was pretty cheap overnight. So I do remember my mother working till like midnight. All right, and me leaving a note on the table like, "Hey, we've got a hockey game at Warnanko Park at 3 o'clock. Okay, can we leave here at 2:30?" My mother would be like, "Wait a minute, I have to get up in 2 hours and take you to play hockey? What?" I remember one time we were driving and my mother's like, "Yeah, this is the last game you're ever going to play. Either that or you need to get a ride." All right, I'm done with this. I don't blame her.
And I'm sure people listening think I do a sports show. I'm pushing. I would let her quit every sport she plays right now. I mean, I am not that parent. I sit in the back and watch and clap for both teams. I'm the one guy that when the girl for the other team makes a good play, I'm like, "Hey, that way to go, 3," and get the dirty looks from all the parents on my team. I want them to play well and have fun. That's all I'm looking for out of this.
Well, haven't you explained to them? Hold on a second. All right. When we grew up playing sports, the only thing was determined winners usually got ice cream. Sometimes the coach would withhold ice cream from the losing team. That was the incentive. Other times, quite frankly, everybody got the same thing. I mean, you were playing for what? I mean, the kids forgot the score 3 minutes after the game, but the parents, oh man, that's a tough night's sleep apparently if Frankie's team loses the under 10s,
Right.
baseball game.
Exactly.
So no, you and we've told a few stories over the years in which, we're standing on the sidelines and a few people quote unquote recognize us and they come over to us and they want us to say things to the coach or, point something out to the referee. And we're like, just because we do a sports talk show doesn't mean we're going to get involved in this game. Okay. At all.
I should ref. I should volunteer and start reffing. But there's not a lot of old refs anymore. They're all young kids. And I would never, but we're short on refs. That's the one thing we need in all sports. It doesn't matter what the sport is, David. We need more officials. High school, youth sports, high school sports. And in fact, the coach of my daughter's softball team, he listens to the show. He's a college football referee. It's like, all right, good for you. There aren't a lot of young people out there that are interested in the refereeing profession.
Do you think as your daughter gets older that maybe you'd do it? to help out, or do you think that she'll probably remain in sports and you'll want to be in the stands supporting her?
As long as she's playing, I wouldn't because I want to watch. If she was
Right.
done, I would think about it. It would be fun.
I understand. I gotcha. I'm curious then, you probably didn't see it live because it sounded like, you were your daughter's Uber driver last night, but boy, if if you're going to set a record, whatever it is you're known for, don't you want to set the record doing what it is you will be best remembered for in like the top 10 percentile that you've ever done that particular thing? Because, Caitlin Clark's a phenomenal shooter. And she was going to set the record last night unless she got hurt because she only needed 8 points to become the all-time Division I leading scorer in women's basketball history. And Mark, I mean, was that 35 feet?
Every bit of it. Steph
You know,
was damn.
I mean, Trey Young watched that shot and went, man, I don't know if that's a good shot. I mean, it was, as she said, well, come on, you knew I was going to shoot a logo three. A logo three. Next time you're watching a college basketball game, especially, in Iowa, just take a look at where the logo is.
That was from the parking lot.
Yes, it was, Gus Johnson.
That was deep. Now, she is a phenomenal story. And what her coach said after the game is, what she's done for not just Iowa, but for women's college basketball in the high that women's college basketball is on.
Yeah.
How much longer it will be sustained because of Caitlin Clark. But she's doing some heady things in this sport. It is unbelievable.
Mark, the ratings for her games on Fox, I mean, she's had at least 2 games on Big Fox, as we like to say. And she's drawn like Kentucky men's basketball, Kansas men's basketball ratings. I mean, we're talking 1.5 million, 1.8 million. Okay, regular season women's college basketball. I mean, no, they've never seen numbers like this. Listen, we said it 6-8 weeks ago, whenever it was, when the deal was made for all the other sports that are not football and men's basketball. And the deal was made as to how much money ESPN was going to pay the NCAA. And it's like $110 million a year, and 60 or 65 of it goes to women's college basketball. And we said, yeah, I think they got a bargain. Now, does this continue beyond her? If you know what I mean. I mean, it's kind of like if she's Steph, okay, so then coming up here, whether it's next year or the year after, don't we need a Trey Young? I mean, if you know what I mean, we need okay.
David, we need somebody because no one's watching. South Carolina is undefeated.
Right.
They're beating everybody by double-digit points. What they are doing right now is UConn-esque and then some.
Yeah.
And I don't believe anybody's watching South Carolina women's college basketball.
I know. In the last week, they've only beaten UConn and Tennessee by double digits, South Carolina, and they're undefeated. And, yeah, they're drawing 400,000 when they play.
Correct.
Right.
So this is, largely a one-off, David, to me.
Well, we've asked the question. And listen, she has not claimed a COVID year. She could claim a COVID year, I believe, and play one more year if she wanted. But if this is it, and they've got 4 regular season games left, and then the Big Ten tournament, and then the NCAA tournament, and, she could easily play 10, 12 more games. But if this is, in fact, it, everyone that is watching her, or at least following her this season, you going to follow her to the WNBA?
I can honestly say without hesitation that I will.
Okay.
As much as I'm watching her now, like, I'm busy at a lot of nights.
Right.
The WNBA is not gonna take my viewership away from the things that I like most. But if it's the choice between a non-full field golf event and a WNBA game with Caitlin Clark, I'm probably gonna tune her in. She's gonna get 3 to 6 views a season from me. That's 3 to 6 more views than I've ever considered giving that sport.
Right. And that's also the significance here of, come on, let's face it. 99% of everybody who's listening here, they've either never watched the WNBA or, maybe in passing. And that's it. And now, I mean, she's making women's college basketball appointment television. What if she makes at least, I believe the Indiana Fever have the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft. Well, obviously, if she's in the draft, you have to take her number 1. Okay. So are Indiana Fever WNBA games going to become must-see TV? I mean, how many people last night made sure they were watching Peacock for Caitlin Clark to set the record? Just curious. I mean, because it's never happened before, Mark. The WNBA has never been appointment television. And if she does that for that league, the way she's doing it for women's hoops in college, that's transcendent.
And I think she will be. I really believe she will be for that sport. I think who knows what happens after, but I think particularly for the first couple of years of Caitlin Clark in that league, they're going to see numbers, they're going to see attendance, they're going to see things they've never seen. She has to then be able to deliver in that league, not the same way she's delivering at the collegiate level, but she has to be able to deliver and be one of the league's top players. I think she will.
Miller and Moulton. A lot going on this Friday. We will talk a lot of football over our next couple hours. We'll dive into, there's headlines saying that the Florida Gators are broke. Well, we're going to talk to the man who's actually responsible for raising money for their collective. And we're going to ask him, are you guys broke? And it's a Friday, so Pat Kirwan's going to join us to talk all things NFL. So we got a good show lined up. Thanks for joining us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Look at Trent in the Twitch chat room at 6:15 a.m. Top of the morning to you, buddy. Now that you're, quote, back home, unquote, all the stuff we've been saying about all your members of your family and the 2 girlfriends, you're going to catch a lot of grief because of us. Yeah, coffin ball. I'm worried about Sunday. Maybe it just rains in the morning and they can try the track and turn the lights on, and we're not working Monday. I'll watch racing at Sunday night. I got a big Monday. I got to get 4 new tires. Big day.
There used to be a little map like of our show clock in here, and I really like having that around, and I don't have it. 5350 is our outbreak, right?
Correct.
As long as I have that, I'm good.
Yep, 14, 31, 53, 50.
Back in 2 minutes. Sorry, I had to do that for Trent.
Ha ha ha! Because Tiger's playing ambient. That's why we put golf. Never mind the fact we do a show in Florida. No state watches more golf than Florida. Firestone, Barstool. Firestone. Free alignment for life.
I answered golf for the record on that poll question. That's what I'll watch.
I answered the Daytona 500.
All right. I'm switching us back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. No Trent today. He and we will be back together again on Tuesday. We're taking President's Day off. We don't take many days off, but we're taking President's Day off. And then we'll probably next day off, I think, will be right around Easter. So, at least as a show, individually, Mark may take one here, I may take one here. But I mean, as a show, I think we're taking like one day off till April.
That seems about right.
Right. Well, Pat Kirwan has guilted us. I mean, we usually wait for him to take a day off before we can take a day off, and then we can't wait that long. He's grinding us. He outworks us both together. It's disheartening. Really is. So, and Pat will be on the show, top of the 8 o'clock hour. Talk more NFL. Hey, I did this actually as an ode to Trent, to honor Trent, because one of the things that he has done in his 3.5 months with us is he is on us about timeliness and a poll question.
Yes, he is.
And because of his first 2 months, November and December, we made a vow that we were going to have a poll question every day in 2024, because that's a weakness of ours.
And we think, if done right, the reason we want to do one is it at least could get us through a segment, maybe a couple of
adds to the show.
That the poll question actually adds to the show, not detracts from the show.
Right. In theory, right?
In theory.
So if I had known that Mark was driving at the time that I sent the text, I wouldn't have sent the text, because I now realize there's a chance that he could have driven off the road and hit a pole. But I sent Mark the show rundown along with notes and a poll question at like 9:30 last night. And I'm sure that Mark, if he was walking in his house at the time, he probably walked into a door. Okay, so what are you more eager to watch this weekend is our poll question. Because, we got Tiger in an invitation-only tournament. He's making the cut. So Tiger Woods is going to be playing the weekend. It's NBA All-Star Weekend. And the reason we said NBA All-Star Weekend is, quite frankly, the biggest attraction of the weekend could be Steph against Sabrina Ionescu in a three-point shooting contest. You know what I don't like about the contest? I get that Sabrina is shooting the WNBA ball. The women's basketballs are just a little smaller. Well,
Right.
Their hands are smaller.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with the women's ball being a little smaller so that it fits in a woman's hand the way that the other basketball fits in a guy's hand. I actually think that that's only fair. But my thought is that the lines on the court should be the same. I guess her threes are, I don't know, a foot shorter. See that, and I'm a big women's sports guy, but my feeling is, come on now, if we're gonna have a 3-point shooting contest, then just one line here, your ball, go. So they've altered it slightly, but that's apparently going to happen over the weekend.
What if she just womans up? See what I did there, David, and decides to go back behind the line anyhow, even though that would be a boss move.
Yes, if I were her, I'd do that. Because what's an extra 9 inches or a foot? Quite frankly, if you've seen her shoot, it's not a problem. And there's big college hoops weekend. There's a top 5 matchup tomorrow. Marquette and UConn. Hey, Sunday afternoon. How about FAU at South Florida for first place in the American? Sold out South Florida, by the way. Sunday afternoon. Thank you very much. So, we got, and it's the Daytona 500. So that's our poll question. What are you watching this weekend? What are you most fired up to watch? How about that? Golf, Daytona, NBA All-Star Weekend, college hoops, and, so far pretty even vote. So that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com, and vote accordingly. That's in honor of Trent.
we got it up, and I voted for the golf because you know what? Tiger Woods is playing, so I'm interested. Even though he shot 72 1 over yesterday, I was able to catch a little bit on ESPN Plus. Followed it right over to the Golf Channel. That's right. I streamed golf yesterday, David, just to watch one Tiger Woods make a few pars and a few bogeys.
We haven't seen him play a meaningful event in 10 months since the Masters. And, he played a couple, a father-son and, a couple of, whatever. But this is the first, in which, there's a scoreboard. We're keeping score here. Rules officials and everything. So the good news, 5 birdies. Okay. All right. Bad news, 6 bogeys. Hell, he shanked the shot on 18. And, Tiger, in which I got to admit, Mark, I'll catch heat because if you say anything slightly negative about Tiger, people lose their minds. But how many times when things start going badly for Tiger, does Tiger all of a sudden, mention something wrong with him at the end of the round? Now, do we think something is wrong with him because he's old and his body's a mess? Or is Tiger making excuses because Tiger's made excuses before?
Funny you say that, David, because what did he say happened? Back spasms. There's not a person in the world that can either prove or deny what he said, except for Tiger Woods.
Yep. So Tiger said down the stretch he was playing with back spasms. He did make a couple bogeys, including a shank on 18. Listen, he's 48 years old. I got to admit, he looks it. He does.
David, they had him also. He hits a great drive on 18. I happened to be watching when he was on 18. And they have the shot tracker or the shot tracer on him for his approach shot. I've never seen a shank on a shot tracer before. That went I happened to be talking. My son was making a long drive yesterday, and he called me because he was bored. And we're sitting there, and I'm talking to my son. I'm like, holy blank, Tiger just shanked it. And I don't think I've ever seen that on a shot tracker. He proceeded to go down in the long grass, hit a ball between 2 trees with a little cut, a little punch, probably 8 or 7 iron, 100 yards, and hit it to about 15 feet. But I'd never seen a shank.
A shot tracer shank.
Yes.
Well, that lets you know the technology's working. If all of a sudden they were showing like a high fade, okay, and then he ends up over in the marsh, that's a problem. So it's good to know the technology's working. But yes, Tiger Woods, we haven't seen him since the Masters. He didn't play any of the other majors last year, right? The plantar fasciitis, and he had the surgery, and right. So 48-year-old Tiger playing at the Genesis at Riviera. Of course, he loves. It's his tournament. He's the tournament host. And the good news, 5 birdies. Bad news, 6 bogeys. And complaining about back spasms at the end. Remember, this is a long walk. This is, he can do all the stuff at, Lake Buena Vista there that he wants. This ain't walking a tour course and tour conditions and what have you. So,
a little different walking on hills than it is walking the flat Florida grass.
Yes.
And playing in a cart mostly when he's playing. So, yes, it is a little different.
By the way, we've already learned something about Tiger. Apparently during the Pro-Am round, he stopped and got a burger on course, and he took the pickles off the burger. And the person behind the counter said, not a pickles guy? He said, no. So there you go. You learned something about Tiger Woods this week, not about his golf game, but he doesn't like pickles.
You like pickles, or you're at least too lazy to take them off of the quarter pounder with cheese.
I love pickles. Now, I love the big dill pickles from a deli. Yeah. I prefer them not sliced. Just give it to me. Hand it to me. I'll eat this sucker. Miller and Moulton. The starting 5 is next. Thanks so much for being with us on what really will be a Football Friday.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years.
Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Florida.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Can I ask somebody out there who could turn on 1070 in Charlotte County to do so? Because Feeney, we had others turn on 1070 yesterday, and they said they heard it fine. And I'm wondering if it's your car or your radio. Because there was no one else that said that our show was not, and they were broadcasting our show on their app also. So I'm curious if anybody else can turn on 1070 The Zone in Charlotte County.
All right, I think I have the sound for the starting five here.
Oh, okay. Hello, hello. All right, I did that because there was a slight echo and I wanted to see if it continued.
I'm not positive on that.
Okay. Happy Friday, Guillermo. Yeah, but Feeney, I'm telling you, you're the only person.
No, he's not.
No, really?
No, he's not. I got text about it too. There's something not working right with them. They need a phone call.
Gotcha.
2 days in a row. This is not just Feeney.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Feeney.
All right, pressure number 2.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Poll question: what are you most amped up to be watching this weekend? Golf, we might as well put in parenthesis Tiger, Daytona 500, NBA All-Star Weekend, or college hoops. Some good matchups this weekend. Go to that, Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com, and vote. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Oh, if you were only watching the Miller and Moulton show on twitch.tv, you could see the victory lap that co-host and executive producer Mark Miller is taking on this Friday, filling in for Trent. So far, knock on wood, everything is working. Well done, Mark. Well done. Caitlin Clark needed all of 8 points to set the all-time record of most points scored for a women's college basketball player. Well, considering she averages over 30 a game, you knew it was going to happen last night at home against Michigan, and it did. The Iowa senior scored the first 8 points of the game for Iowa, including a 3 from the logo, or as she called it, a logo 3. It was 35 feet if it was an inch. She finished with 49 in Iowa's 106-89 win over Michigan. She now has 3,569 points. She passed Kelsey Plum of Washington, who had her 3,500 and I think 28 points in a 4-year career with the Huskies. Mark, what is interesting is there are actually 3 more players that she can pass. You know, before it was NCAA women's basketball, it was called AIAW basketball. Like when Pat Summitt first took over the Lady Vols, it was not NCAA hoops. They played a couple years still. They were the AIAW. Well, there are 2 women who amassed their point totals playing AIAW ball. Plum is 80 points behind Lynette Woodard. And if that name rings a bell for anybody, she was actually signed by the Harlem Globetrotters back in her day. Okay, and also that's of the major schools. They had what is also called small school AIAW record. And a woman by the name of Pearl Moore actually totaled 3,884 points. So Clark is 315 points behind Pearl Moore in terms of a woman who actually scored X number of points in a college basketball career. Now, like we mentioned, I mean, Iowa could play a dozen more games here. They got 4 regular season games left. They've got the Big Ten tournament where they could easily play 3 games, and they're going to be a 1 or a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Remember, they played for the national championship last year. So if Iowa doesn't make it to at least an Elite 8, it'll be a disappointment. So you got to figure she's got 10 or 11 games. And if they get to the Final Four, she could play a dozen more games. Also, by the way, Clark is 98 points behind Pistol Pete Maravich.
That's where I was going. I thought when you said the 2, I was expecting Maravich to be in there. But that's another record that she will certainly break here in the next few games.
It certainly looks it. Now, remember, Maravich, A, only could play 3 years because when he played, freshmen were ineligible, and B, no three-point shot. And yet he still averaged 44 points a game. NFL news. The Bears were active yesterday. They released safety Eddie Jackson and guard Cody Whitehair. They're saving $21.5 million against the cap next year in doing so. Mark, they also now do not have a single one of their own draft picks before 2020 on their team. That's how young the Bears roster currently is, but they've also freed up now a lot of money. They could be very active. Never mind what are they going to do with Fields. They got multiple first-round picks. I mean, this could be a huge offseason for the Bears. Former Bear and recently elected into the Hall of Fame, Steve McMichael, who's battling ALS, hospitalized overnight with pneumonia. Family sent out some messages saying, it doesn't look good. Keep him in your prayers. One other football note, Seahawks, well, they're going to keep Geno Smith past today, Mark, which guarantees $12.7 million of his contract. The next date is March 18th. He's due a $9.6 million roster bonus. That's 5 days into free agency. And there's talk that, remember, Pete Carroll's not running the show anymore. John Schneider gets to make the decisions for the first time. You got a new head coach. He may not be enamored with Geno Smith from afar. So they could still trade Geno. You got to admit, Geno's contract is $25 million a year for a starting quarterback. That's a bargain. So, his future's not secure in Seattle, but at least he's going to have $12.7 million guaranteed on the books this year, no matter who he's playing for. One other football note, which people found interesting, Georgia State's head coach, Sean Elliott. Yeah, he quit to become the tight ends coach at South Carolina. Now, this one, people may not like it, but this one is truly for quote-unquote family reasons. South Carolina is in Columbia, South Carolina. Well, he's been the head coach at Georgia State, which is Atlanta, for 7 years. His family did not move with him. He has spent the 7 years working and trying to commute back to see his wife and 2 kids. Well, his daughter is a junior in high school, and the son, I think, is a sophomore. The daughter is going to be a cheerleader, and the son plays football. And so when he had an opportunity now to go work for the college team in Columbia, South Carolina, he now gets to see his kids and wife again. So
not that much, but he'll get to see him. I mean, he'll sleep in the same house as they do. He'll see them occasionally.
Right. Georgia State, meanwhile, was 3 days into spring football. So they canceled the rest of spring ball and their spring game. And they've got to go find a coach. NBA, 3 games left. The All-Star break is now officially underway. They won't play another regular season game again until next Thursday. Giannis scored 35, but Milwaukee lost at Memphis, 113-110. Klay Thompson came off the bench, hit 7 threes. His best game of the year. He scored 35 in Golden State's 140-137 win over Utah. That's right.
That's a fun regular season game to be at right there.
You mean if the over-under was 275.5 and it still went over?
Yes.
Right. And, hey, give it up to the Timberwolves. The All-Star break, they had the best record in the West. They're 39-16. They whooped Portland by 37, 128-91. Men's college hoops. Minnesota led Purdue by 8 at the half at Mackey. And then the Boilermakers got down to business and beat the Gophers by 8, 84-76. That's not a cover. FAU was home last night. They won, didn't cover, beat Temple 80-68. Meanwhile, we told you yesterday there's 2 teams that are still unbeaten in conference play in men's hoops. Yale and St. Mary's in the WCC. St. Mary's beat Pepperdine by 44 last night, 103-59. FIU, a loser to Sam Houston. But, Mark, the most eventful men's college basketball game last night was on Long Island. Did you hear what happened? Fairleigh Dickinson against LIU.
I have to say, David, somehow in my paying attention to sports, I missed this one. Please enlighten us.
Well, Mark, I think LIU, come on, you're not thinking the best of facilities. And apparently FDU had to take an elevator, to get to where it is they needed to go in the arena to then get onto the floor. The elevator got stuck.
Of course it did.
and the game was delayed they had to call the local fire department. Of course, our buddy John Fanta takes out his cell phone. Okay, she's got still photos of the firemen working on the elevator and then them cracking the door open. And I mean, the elevator is packed with guys in their uniforms and sweats ready to go. Fairleigh Dickinson eventually got off the elevator and won in overtime, 84-82. Women's hoops, Miami lost at home to 19th ranked Syracuse. South Carolina remains unbeaten. They beat Tennessee in Knoxville by 11. FGCU, FIU, Florida State, and Jacksonville, your winners. In state, Florida and North Florida, your losers. Anthony Stolars is a pretty good backup goalie for the Panthers. He had 45 saves last night in a shutout win, 4-0 over Buffalo. How about the Lightning Avs game? We hyped that up a little bit last night. All right, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3. Lightning scored 4 in the third to win 6-3. Kucherov, 2 goals and an assist. Another 3-point game for him. He's going to be a finalist for the Hart.
He is. He's not going to win it because there's a McDavid in the league. And McKinnon's having the best year he's maybe ever had.
And this Austin Matthews guy's got 45 goals. But I think he'll be a finalist. If not, it's funny. Can you win the scoring title and not be a finalist for the Hart? Because that's possible. Kreider, a hat trick for the Rangers, 7-4 win over Montreal. Listen, the Kraken did the Panthers a solid last night. Panthers with a win in Buffalo. Kraken went into Boston, beat the Bruins 4-1. Panthers are what, 3 points behind the Bees for first now?
They beat them 4-1, you say?
Yeah, they did.
I know
laddie.
I can play. Apparently, it needs an accent.
it did there, laddie. You know who's the play-by-play voice of the Kraken? It was our buddy John Forsland. It's now Patrick Harrington. Harrington and Rory are doing
David.
The games.
4-1 for the Kraken.
And 4-1 for Seattle. They're still just killing time waiting for a basketball team, you say. That Austin Matthews guy, he had the natural hat trick. Had 3 goals all in a row, all in the same period, in the second period. And then they scored in overtime, beat the Flyers 4-3. Crosby, 2 goals. He's got 30. Not bad for an old guy. Connor Bedard returned to action last night. He was -2. Pittsburgh beat Chicago 4-1. And finally, the Genesis Invitational at Riviera. Tiger Woods returned to tournament golf. This is his tournament. He plays hostess with the mostess. Patrick Cantlay. Takes a long time to play, but when he plays well. He's 7 under, 1-shot lead. Tiger, by the way, looked at all of 48 years old yesterday. The good, 5 birdies. The bad, 6 bogeys. 1 over, 72. And at the end of the round was complaining of back spasms. So there you have it. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I left out one thing, actually 2. Rob Manfred made it official yesterday. He had hinted at it in an interview a couple of weeks ago. He said, yeah, I've already told the owners this is my last contract. January, February of 29, I'm done. This is it. Then I'm retiring. I'm going to enjoy life. Okay. You know, I gave you guys a lot of years. I ain't giving you any more. And did you hear, Mark? Were you an EA college football video guy?
I'm a video game person. I was not into it as much as some of the others, but I did see it. I watched the little trailer they sent out yesterday, and I'm fired up for it. People love this game. It's, you know, a lot of people say it, a lot of people are over Madden and really yearning for the EA Sports college football game to come out. The full trailer comes out in May, and it should be available this summer, right?
Correct. College Football 25 is what they're calling it. An 11-year hiatus. It will be released officially this summer. Mark, quick trivia. Who was the last EA college football cover player?
Oh, the Michigan quarterback.
That's right.
Robinson.
Denard Robinson. Well done. Well done. There you go. But it's back.
I love it. That
I
thing
know.
can fly off the shelves.
I thought of you and your son. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Well, and he still plays the 14 game. And the gamers that love that are still playing the college football 2014 game. So it'll be the biggest video game announcement or video game launch in quite some time.
And obviously now the difference is instead of having to disguise who the players were then, quarterback 1, in which you're like, oh, come on. Like quarterback 15. Oh, you think that's Tim Tebow? Is that you think that's Reggie Bush running the ball? Now it can actually be the guys because they can get paid. Miller and Moulton. Hey, thanks for being with us on this Friday.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Sonny, you wonder if there's anything that could ever happen in that country which would actually lead to an overthrow. He's led them into an unnecessary war where hundreds of thousands of their family members have died. That hasn't led to what, one bad weekend he had because of that? You know, things like that have led to uprisings elsewhere. I don't know if there's a situation that will lead to it there.
All right.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Friday. Thanks so much for being with us. Freddie Wehbe is an influential Gainesville businessman who's been associated with the University of Florida for a while. He's tight with Steve Spurrier. And I don't know if it's the university or the folks running the Gator Collective, but they've tapped him on the shoulder recently and said, hey, you're good at generating revenue. Think you could help us raise money for the athletic department? And right around that time, headlines have come out saying that Florida's broke was the headline I saw yesterday. Broke, Mark. I don't know about you,
not
but
good. I mean,
no.
It just means more in the SEC, which means I thought they had more money. How can they be broke?
Well, I have to admit, of all the athletic departments to claim they're broke, okay, although remember, the Gator Collective is not directly associated with the athletic department, so it's not the athletic department that's broke. But anyway, so and when I say we, Freddie is familiar with our show. He likes the show. I've met him once. Okay, we've texted a few times. And so we reached out to him and just said, "Hey, is this stuff true?" And he went, "No." And we said, "Well, would you like to clear up what's out there?" He goes, "Sure." So Freddie's going to join us in about 35 minutes. And, if you're a Gator fan or a Gator hater, I think you'll be interested in what he has to say. This is modern college athletics right here. This is a business guy. You're a big fan. You're in the community. Hey, can you help us raise money? Sure. Okay.
So is he their John Ruiz?
No, because we'll ask him. I don't think so for this reason. Ruiz to me was the bank. Freddie, I don't know if Freddie's given a dime, but Freddie is now one of the two most instrumental people responsible for raising the money for the Gator Collective.
He needs to find his Ruiz and company.
Right. So we're going to talk to Freddie. This is modern college athletics right here. I know this topic bores some of you.
Oh, some of you just plain old hate it. I don't know if it bores anybody, David, but modern college sports, I mean, literally yesterday, and I use my son as an example because he's 24 years old and he's a big college football fan, big sports fan. We're talking yesterday, and I said to him, "Did you see the news that they're going to put the 2-minute warning in college football?" And after a string of expletives, he's like, "What are they doing to my game? Why must they continue to tinker with the game that I love?" And this is the ultimate. This isn't tinkering. This is changing the game that people love.
Right.
And they can't handle it right now.
Did you see the interview with the Mike Boynton, the Oklahoma State men's basketball coach yesterday? So he's doing a weekly presser. I think they got a game Saturday, and they're talking about recruiting. And Boynton laughs and he says, "Listen, do you know how much time and effort I had to put into getting Cade Cunningham?" He goes, "I had to be at more of his things than Bill Self, than Roy Williams." He goes, "That was 4 years. I spent 4 years getting Cade Cunningham. 4 years." And he chose us ultimately because we'd built a relationship and, he had faith that we would do right by him. He goes, "I don't have to spend hardly any time with the next generation Cade Cunninghams." Okay. It's a phone call. It's meet them in person and go, "Hey," and then they look right at you and they go, "Hey, you got $500,000? And if you do, there you go. And if you don't, well, then he's going to go talk to the next coach." Mike Boynton just flat said this out loud. It's one thing when the Miller and Moultons of the world have been saying this out loud. You guys, come on, you're a little full of it. It's Mike Boynton, head coach, Oklahoma State men's basketball. He goes, "That's recruiting today. You got $500,000 for me to play for you next year? Yes or no? No? All right. I'm going to go talk to Bill Self."
Because he's got it, by the way.
Yes. Or he can get it. Hold on 3 minutes. Okay. I'll get right back. Don't leave that spot. I just got to make a phone call. In fact, I could probably do it by text. You only need $500,000? Wait right there. So, I mean, Mike Boynton said it out loud yesterday, just so everybody knows. That's a Big 12 men's basketball coach. He said it out loud.
And I wonder, we won't see the exodus in college basketball from college coaches to the NBA because there just aren't the jobs. There's not 75 assistants, and the money's not as lucrative to become an assistant in the NFL as it is in the NBA. But you got to think the rest of the old guard, the rest of these coaches have to have had it.
It's okay. I'll say they've had it, although your guy actually throws water all over my theory. I was going to say they've had it unless they have the money, at which point they just adjust. But your guy's got the money. I mean, the guy who owns the Phoenix Suns is a billionaire. He's a Michigan State alum. He was a walk-on for Izzo, right?
You got it.
I mean, there's not a player in the world that Izzo can't get if he doesn't want, right?
And they got 2 of them this past year.
And yet Izzo, by everything he has said publicly, basically hates the sport he's working in right now.
Absolutely. And he's got all the money he needs.
And he's got
to
an
build the sport he
unlimited
wants.
bank.
Unlimited.
Right. Right. And he hates it.
And he is the most miserable man in the country right now.
I really do think Clint Eastwood is now coaching the Michigan State men's
There's
basketball.
not a doubt in my mind that you're right, David.
Isn't there a part of you now that just wants him to win the second title so he can just ride off into the sunset?
Yes. Yes. That's not going to happen, but it would be nice for him.
What are you talking about? Next month is Izzo. I mean, February, Izzo. Anyway. So there is an issue that you and I, if we could spend 5 minutes wondering, what's the future going to be? And you and I lately have been pounding the table for, we actually see them becoming employees. And I know nobody wants that, but I don't know how you rein in the wild, wild west unless you get some framework. And once you make them employees, now we've got quite the framework. We all know how employer-employee relationship works, even in sports. But Mark, let me ask you this. Let's just say we're going to be right about this. That's the road they're going down. Well, what happens to the whole 4 years of eligibility? I mean, why can't you just play college ball as long as you want? I mean, you think about it, because there are some players in all sports who are excellent at the collegiate level who are not going to do much of anything at the next level. We see it all the time. Football, basketball, you name it.
Well, it's where the NCAA may still have some say, David, that they will still be the ruling body, or this new faction of the Big Ten SEC will be the ruling body, and they will put a determination on how many years you can play post-high school.
I'm just curious, and, we've many a lawyer who listens to the show. Do you think it's legal? Now, I know you can set an age limit in certain occupations in which it's mandatory retirement age. We see it, I believe police has it, certain public employees have it, So
well, the NFL has a rule that you have to be 3 years removed from high school. That's never, that's
correct.
Continued to be upheld.
Right. Now, I believe the last person to challenge it was Maurice Claret, and that's 20 years ago. That's another thing, Mark, that everything's getting challenged now in court. The courts were supportive of the NCAA and professional leagues a generation ago. The current makeup of the court seems very pro-athlete. Brett Kavanaugh seems to want to single-handedly remake sports as we know it. Brett Kavanaugh, maybe the most conservative judge on the court. So, I mean, I'm curious. I don't know the answer, but let's just say we go down an employee-employer route.
Which could mean, David, unionization of the college athlete that we've talked about. Right. In that collective bargaining agreement rule, there could be a limitation as to how long you play. That would probably be collectively bargained.
So
if we're going down the route that we've been talking, David, which is an employee, which means there will be a union.
At some point, yes.
And at that point, they will collectively bargain as to an exit strategy for the collegiate athlete, I believe.
Do you think it'll be I'm curious, can you then place you can only play 4 years or 5 years, or do we put an age limit of 25?
I don't know
what's the age limit
on it. I think they'll put it on. They'll still try to somehow loosely keep the student athlete part of it in there. And it'll say they have to be, enrolled or in class or something along those lines.
But we all know you can get masters. I mean, and I'm not kidding. All right. My best friend's wife's sister went to school into her early 30s. Her degrees have degrees. I don't know. I'm just something that's been brought up, like going forward, Caitlin Clark. if we go down this road. Well, why does she have to stop? If she's an employee, why does she have to stop playing at Iowa? Would Iowa ever fire her? Hell no. I'm just wondering going forward, will there be an eligibility limit?
I believe that there will.
Okay.
And I think it'll be collectively bargained because they will have some sort of a union that represents them. If not, they would continue to get walked over by the universities if this agreement ever came into place.
If you were representing the athlete, would you ever want to set a limit? Would you ever want to set an age limit or a years of eligibility limit? Why would you do that?
Would I want to? No. Would it be the most important thing on my list? I doubt it. I would think benefits for players and getting them as much money as possible, and they all want to go to pro leagues and inevitably anyhow.
All
and
right.
I don't need a 37-year-old collegiate golfer.
I don't know, though. I mean, do you know how many fairways you get older, you don't hit it as far, but boy, you start hitting it straighter. All right. That's a hell of a team player there on that golf team.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you answer Johnny Mac? Yes, the money clip was found, Johnny Mac. Mark, can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? I'm talking to Mark. Sorry, Pakowitz. Mhm. Johnny, the money clip apparently fell through a hole in the golf bag and was in the bottom of the golf bag. So crisis averted. It just took 24 hours to find it. And because we found the money clip, we bet money on Detroit Mercy to win and cover, and they did. It's about the only thing we got right this week. Because my pick sucked. Good morning, Dratharian. Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. No Trent today, so I'm assuming, Mark, and if I'm assuming in error, I apologize. So I'm assuming no play of the day.
You have assumed correctly.
Because you know what happens when you assume.
It's very true, but with that one, that's the level of production that I am not yet ready for, David.
Okay. Just trying to get through the show. No show on Monday, by the way. Best of Miller and Moulton. We're taking President's Day off. We're taking it off in advance because we're betting that the Daytona 500 is going to get rained out Sunday and we'll need Monday to watch it. Hope not. Daytona 500, part of our poll question, which, by the way, Mark, right now, unprecedented voting. Unprecedented voting all the years we've done a poll question. We're asking you, what are you most eager to watch this weekend? Golf, because Tiger's playing. He hasn't played in 10 months. Not in a tour event of any kind. The Daytona 500, NBA All-Star Weekend. That could be any part of it. Dunk contest, three-point contest. Steph and Ionescu having the contest against each other. The game, it's East against West. They're going to play it legit, apparently. Or college hoops this weekend. Got some huge matchups, including a top 5 matchup in the Big East with UConn and Marquette. Mark, right now, a 3-way tie for the lead. Never had that. Golf, Daytona 500, college hoops, all tied for the lead. NBA All-Star Weekend. Hurting.
I voted Tiger, golf. David voted the Daytona 500.
So there you go. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, FloridaSportsNetwork.com, and vote accordingly. How about that? Without Trent, we A, have a poll question, B, got it up quickly, and C, apparently it's a good one. Huh? How about that? Hey, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you in a hotel room?
Oh, really? You want to go there?
Well, yeah.
Mobile, Alabama, working for the Nashville Knights.
Uh-huh.
I was younger, and this is a too much information situation, but there's no other way to describe this, that I slept in the buff.
Okay.
And I got up to use the facilities in the middle of the night after a night on Dolphin Street in Mobile, Alabama, where I had maybe had a couple too many drinks.
Maybe.
I went to walk into the restroom, and when the door shut behind me, I realized that I did not walk into the restroom, that I had walked out of the front door of my hotel.
Uh-oh.
And the door locked behind me.
Uh-oh.
I was stark naked in the hallway of the Holiday Inn, Mobile, Alabama.
Outstanding.
You may know the hotel. It's the Round. You've been to Mobile. You've done a game or two there, I think, in your arena football days. The Round Holiday Inn.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no phone by the elevator.
Uh-huh.
I thought maybe there would be a phone. I'd call the front desk, explain my situation.
Right.
There's no phone.
Right.
So I get into the elevator, and I don't know what time it is, 4 a.m. I get down to the bottom of the elevator. There's a decent walk, 50 yards from where the elevator is to the front desk.
Okay.
I look, and the only thing I see is the pamphlet brochure rack of things to do in Mobile.
Okay.
I take a trifold brochure, use that to cover the front of me.
Okay.
And make my way to the front desk and said, I just locked myself out of the room, and as you can see, I don't have any identification. At which point, the person who is laughing hysterically gets me a key to my room, and I make my way back up to room 701 or wherever the hell I was at the Holiday Inn Mobile. Fortunately, I did not see anyone but the hotel front desk employee. There were no guests down in the lobby at that point in the morning.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay. All right. For what it's worth, the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me in a hotel room was taking my daughter to Jacksonville from Fort Myers. We stopped just shy of Jacksonville in a hotel, and we stayed in the same room, separate beds, the whole deal. And while I went to use the bathroom, after she had used the bathroom, and uneventful, but when I went to use the bathroom, I sat on the seat and it came out of the wall. Okay. Yes, came out of the wall. All of a sudden, I felt myself losing elevation. I'm like, what's going on here? Because it's coming out of the wall. So then the seat is going down. Right. And so I'm holding on to the seat, okay, which is plaster and heavy. And of course, I've got, trousers down by my ankles. So with one arm, I'm pulling up my trousers, and the other arm I'm holding, and I'm yelling out to my daughter, hey, you need to tell the front desk that the toilet didn't break. It came out of the wall. So anyway, but the reason I mentioned that is because I checked into the hotel here in Charlotte. I'm in Charlotte for a couple days broadcasting a game tonight. And I had made the only request, Mark, that I made with the Jacksonville basketball team is that, listen, got this morning radio show, so you can't really, I can't room with anybody because it's unfair to the person I'm rooming with. I'm going to be up at 6. I'm going to be talking loudly. It's unfair for that person, whoever that person is. Okay. And I even know someone, with the team, and it's unfair to him that, I'll be up and disturbing him and he can't get the rest that everybody else associated with the team can. So I need my own room. That's the only thing I ask. Can I just have my own room? And they're like, yeah, sure. It's not a problem. So this is like the 4th road trip I've been on with them. And, every time I've had my own room, and I check in and I assume that, when I get your last name. Yeah, here you go. Your room, what have you. And they hand you the key. Great. And so I go to the room and I'm like the last one off the bus, so there's a chance, just about everybody else has gotten their keys and they've gone to the room. And the reason I mention that is because this particular hotel chain is it's a Hyatt place. And so when you walk in the room, the suite area is what you walk into. Most hotel rooms, you walk into the bathrooms immediately to one side or the other, and then you walk into whatever. Well, Mark, you walk into this area, and it's the suite area on both sides, and then the back of the room is the bed on one side and the bathroom on the other. I mentioned that so that, remember, you're walking into the room, and on the sides are the suites, but what you see straight ahead is a bed and a bathroom. So I open the door, and boom, I open the door and I bring my stuff in, and Mark, clearly it was a shock to the person who's in my room because they are sitting on the toilet.
Oh boy.
And they've got the door wide open.
Yeah.
And
their room.
they got the clothes around their ankles and they're listening to music. And they're jamming while, taking care of business. And there I am about 6 feet into their room going, "Hi. I'm guessing this isn't my room. Sorry about that." And turned around, walked out, went downstairs and said, "Hey, I think I'm in a different room." And she goes, "Why do you think that?" And I said, "Well, because I walked in and there was a guy on the toilet in my room. So either he's in the wrong room or I am. How about if we just let him stay where he is? He's busy." So
that's outstanding.
Yep. And of course, unfortunately, it's one of the assistant coaches on the basketball team. So I run into him in the lobby a couple hours later and go, "Man, you look a lot better now."
Well, at least you weren't getting any soup. Miller and Moulton. We are going to talk the Gators, NIL, and their financial future next. Seems to be kind of an important story, David.
Everywhere. At every university, as a matter of fact. Freddie Wehbe will join us next.
Family of Southwest Florida, are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark?
I'm sorry. Did you say something to me? I did not.
I'm just saying, I sent you a couple texts. Did you read them?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to call him here.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Hoping to catch up with Freddie Wehbe. He's involved in the Gator Collective, raising money for Florida's NIL program. Pat Kirwan to join us at the top of the hour to talk all things NFL. Been an eventful week, and not all of it good, as we know. So Pat Kirwan coming up at the top of the hour. Hoping to catch up with Freddie Wehbe coming up here in a moment or two. So, we talked about the money involved in college sports for really our whole careers, but we've gotten knee deep into it, in fact, neck deep into it in our last 5 years. And we think we've been ahead of the curve, that we knew it was going to come to this, and it has, and we know most of you don't like it, but we think to put our heads in the sand and ignore it, well, that would be a mistake. So Mark is calling Freddie now, and hopefully we can have 10, 12 minutes with him and talk about what's going on at the University of Florida. They've been in the news a lot this week. Some damning headlines. I'm told not all of it true. So we'll get into that coming up in just a bit. Make sure you vote in our poll question, floridasportsnetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. What are you most amped up to watch this weekend? Golf, which is Tiger, Daytona 500, NBA All-Star Weekend, or college hoops. Vote accordingly. The Daytona 500 has moved out into the lead. Freddie Wehbe joining us now. Freddie, it's David and Mark. Thanks so much for your time. How are you?
You.
Freddie, it's one thing for me to try to tell everybody who you are. In about 15 seconds, just tell our listeners who you are and what it is you're now doing concerning raising money for Florida NIL.
Thank you, David, and thank you guys for letting me on the show. My name is Freddie Wehbe. I'm now the Director of Revenue for the Florida Victorious, which is the official NIL partner of the Florida Gators. My role is to raise money from the corporate world. I have a solid team of 2 folks, Bob Whitmore and Don Rodriguez, and this is something new that we have to do to help these student athletes and the Florida Gators.
Okay, then from a corporate standpoint, Miami was out on this with Ruiz and his company. Is this a matter of you getting multiple companies? Is it one big company? How far does this reach have to be to do what you need to do for the Gators?
I mean, Florida Gators is a big brand. It's probably the number 1 sports brand in the state. University of Florida is a top 10 university. We have 500,000 alumni plus. They live across the entire state. This is a statewide campaign. This is talking to folks in every region from South Florida to Jacksonville to Tampa to Orlando. It's going to take the entire Gator Nation to help the Florida Victorious and hence to help our coaches win and provide them the tools they need, and the student athletes will benefit from this. I tell everyone, if every Gator fan gives $10 tomorrow, I think we hit our goals. And at the end, we have to do a better job explaining what we do, what Florida Victorious is, why the money is needed, where it's going. These athletes are amazing. We right now have over 200 athletes that get payments from the Florida Victorious. They do a lot of nonprofit things in the community. They're learning to be leaders. And this is the new way. And the biggest challenge I see is just talking to folks before I took this position is there's a vagueness. There's a little bit of not understanding what NIL is. There's a little bit of, not clarity of the objective. It's a pretty simple task. It takes money in today's world. Everyone has to embrace it, whether you're a Florida Gator or another college. The student athlete is going to get paid to play. And the more money we have, the easier it is for the coaches. It's a Supreme Court decision that happened almost 4 years ago, and Gator Nation just embraced this. It's a good thing.
All right, 2-part question, Freddie. First off, you're not directly associated with the university, correct? The Florida Victorious is essentially to the side doing its own thing, but then they would hand the money to the athletic department, correct?
That is correct. We are not associated with the athletic department. We do work closely with them, obviously. We are aligned, entire different groups on campus, whether it's alumni or boosters or Neofield. All of us are aligned for one reason, to help the Florida Gators. And we are a separate company. We have a team of 11. We have a CEO, Nate Barbara, who's great. They've done a great job raising money so far. We're very competitive, unlike what you've heard in the news the last few days. We've raised lots of money. They've done a great job. We just need to do more, and that's why we're attacking the corporate world. There's 3 ways to support the Florida Victorious Fund, and one, you donate, which is easy for some folks to do. You can subscribe. We have subscriptions from $15 a month, $25 and up. And the third space, which I feel is a big opportunity, is corporate sponsorships, where we provide you assets for your marketing, for your business, to help your business. In return, it helps the Florida Victorious back.
All right. You kind of said one thing in there that I think would but would have people who are listening pause. You said it's pay for play, and that is what they're talking about not doing. Just explain to us the difference between pay for play and NIL. Because I know that they're kind of one and the same, Freddie, but do they need to be separated?
I mean, it's you can call it whatever. At the end of the day, students are getting funded to do things for their teams. Coaches have to manage roster management upon that. They've called it NIL. That's what it is. And if it changes, it is what it is. It's not going to change the notion that we're doing. Players are right now performing duties in the community. They are going to the Habitat for Humanity, the food bank, the Ronald McDonald House. They're posting for sponsors. The Florida Gators has the rights to market student athletes and raise more money for them. And that's the notion that I think is a little bit vague out there. There are over 200 athletes at the University of Florida getting compensated to the athletes. And this entire NIL thing is to fund the student athlete, and not only at the Florida Gators, and not only at the Florida Gators, but every college is the same way.
Is the goal, because the University of Florida, I believe, Freddie, has 500 quote unquote student athletes. Is the goal of Florida Victorious to, as soon as possible, have all 500 get some form of compensation, or is it to, do something else?
It's a goal, absolutely, but that's really the way it should be. It's the right thing to do, but it takes more funding to do so. What comes in goes out, and that's where we are. And we just need to expand the revenue stream. And I believe corporate America and corporate businesses, you don't have to be a Gator affinity business owner or decision maker to support the Florida Victorious. The Florida Victorious is going to provide tools to any business to help them increase their business. And there's a lot of Gator fans in Florida, whether it's in Tampa, Jacksonville, Sarasota, Miami, Palm Beach. If I can come to you and help your business, bring you more customers because you supported the Florida Gators, this is how we're going to do this.
How do you, if a company comes to you and says, I just want to work with the football team, is that something they can do, or is Florida Victorious all encompassing for all sports if you are someone who is donating?
That's a very good question. And again, not clear on the answer for some folks, so I'll answer it correctly. You can designate the sports that you like. And we have some of those already where sponsors are affiliated with softball or lacrosse or baseball only. We can do so and tie it into an athlete from that sport. So absolutely. All you have to do is designate that.
Freddie, there was a headline, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, something about, Florida's broke. I think Miller and Moulton find that hard to believe. First of all, the athletic department is profitable every year. They give money back to the general fund. And secondly, I know Florida Victorious is separate from the athletic department, but you're raising millions of dollars. You can't be broke, right? That had to be a misleading headline. Am I wrong?
The answer is no, we're not broke. We're not even close to broke. And you just got to love some media folks that love to clickbait folks and twist the context around. That is so false. And it's we made the decision not to respond to it. It's not worth going down all that down deep. But truly, we're not. They've done a good job. Our organization is healthy. We're in the top echelon of all collectives in the country. But it takes more than that. And we've done a good job financially, and we're solid. And that's 100% false.
How much resistance, Freddie, have you met? Like, obviously, we deal with sports fans, and there's a lot of college sports fans that are just they find what's going on in the last 4 years unseemly. It's because obviously that's not the college sports world they grew up playing in or rooting for. How big of a resistance is that for you right now? You're talking to Gator fans who have supported the Gators before. Now you're asking them to do it directly. And how many of them look at you and go, I don't know if I'm comfortable doing this?
That's a very good question, and I'm glad you asked it. At the end, we Gator fans have to embrace this new world of football. It's changed 360 degrees in the last few years, and it might change again, and we don't know that. What's not going to change is the ability to raise money to fund and provide money for the student athletes. Gator fans have to embrace it. The days of not paying players are gone. And this is not a decision the Florida Victorious or the Florida Gators did. This is a decision the Supreme Court, the highest court in the nation, made this decision. Now, you can argue about how the NCAA has managed it, how the communication is, how the schools are responding. It's a very tricky thing. I am 100% certain the rules will change, will be adjusted. There'll be more clarity as we move forward. But the notion of collecting money will not change. Gator Nation needs to embrace that. It's probably, for me, as I've surveyed around the state, the biggest challenge. It's the biggest challenge from fans, from former athletes, from coaches. They all have to embrace this. Former athletes that played for the Florida Gators should not get paid. And it's very tough for them to kind of comprehend the notion that I have to give money to athletes when I was an athlete and I did not get paid. That's such a tough bridge to cross, but we have to do that. And as we continue our media campaign, we just started a very solid media campaign. We're promoting the brand and rebranding and message. We can argue the collective did not do, the Florida Victorious did not do a good job explaining what they do. It's not clear. We're fixing that. That's my role. And as a director of revenue, my job is to make sure people understand and drive what is Florida Victorious. What's the tie-in to the athletics? What is the tie-in to the student athlete? Our job is to go out and solicit more funding so we can compensate the student athletes so they do their job and hence help the Florida coaches win.
Freddie, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. I know there are certain people didn't want you to do this interview. We're very appreciative. Good luck. And hopefully we can talk down the road.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and I enjoy your show.
Freddie Wehbe, prominent person in the Gainesville business community, and now he has a very prominent role with Florida Victorious, which is the official name of the Gator Collective. He mentioned marketing, Mark, and apparently, and I think it debuts today around the state, they're taking out a huge billboard campaign in every corner of the state. So you may be driving down the highway and you see this Florida Victorious thing. Well, that's Freddie Wehbe. So they're going to get the word out, and the first way they're doing it is billboards.
All right. I mean, the one thing, and it's why I asked the question. He basically said pay for play.
Oh, he didn't basically. He said it like 4 times. Yeah. And listen, you and I should appreciate that. We've been saying it. It's what it is.
It certainly is, not only with the recruits, but guys in the transfer portal as well. It's very simply put, what are you paying me to come to your school? There's no recruiting anymore. It's a bottom line game. And the Gators have to get up with the rest of the SEC and the rest of the country for the bottom line.
And I think he gave an interview elsewhere in which he said we need to raise like $10 million annually. I think they're like over 5 right now. So they're not broke. Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, boys.
Good morning, Pat.
I was enjoying listening to Freddie talk.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning, my friends.
What'd you like about it?
I think he's honest about what's going on, and there are still people trying to hold on to values that don't exist anymore. But I also think there's a reason all these, and it can happen to any school. If you don't raise the right amount of money, the coach is going to walk. He's going to take an NFL job and leave, and we've seen that already. And there are schools that are just not going to be able to compete. Like, let me ask you, can you restack the Southeast Conference by wealth? Who in those schools, because I know Alabama's not one of them, that's why he left. What schools are going to have the big pot of money that can go buy other players from everyone else?
A&M, Georgia, LSU.
Yep. And they will emerge as the top three, and I think that's why.
Maybe Tennessee, believe it or not. They've been raising, like, for the longest time, the biggest recruiting budget in the country was Tennessee, even when they were lousy at football. Money's never been a problem in Tennessee.
And that's the point. It's there's a new power structure, if you will. I've had long talks with Billy O'Brien because they're one of the teams that are just going to keep losing guys. And what is his plan to replenish the talent with the limited resources they have? And I gave him two guys, but I thought these guys know the top 5 to 10 guys in the smaller schools, and you might have to recruit them to replace what you're losing.
I heard somebody say that, like, the Billy O'Briens of the world, they're not going to spend their time recruiting new players. They're going to spend so much time continuously re-recruiting their current players to keep them from leaving.
And that doesn't work when 8 guys walked into Nick's office and said, pay me more or I'm leaving, and they all left. So I hear some funny stories about fathers. You know, they walk in and they tell the head coach, you got to start at $1 million or my kid's not coming here.
Right. Oh, no. So reportedly, I was listening to Bobby Carpenter, you know, former Ohio State linebacker, and he still does a morning show in Columbus. And he talked with Chip Kelly. And Chip, according to Bobby, said to him, all head coaching is now is recruiting. You're recruiting players and you're recruiting money. And you need to recruit the money to recruit the players. He goes, it's not coaching anymore at all.
It's not.
And that's why Chip, because all Chip wants to do is call plays. Chip's not interested in any of the other stuff.
No, and UCLA is one of the schools that doesn't have money.
No, which surprises people, but they're actually broke.
Yeah, they're a state school. They have limitations like crazy. They can't even raise money. I guarantee they're going to have to give the money to the general fund if they find any. Kind of sad, but it's the way it is. And it was fun listening to Fred. I don't even know him. But it isn't, when they reposition the Southeast Conference, it's going to be by wealth, not by the reputation of the coach who can coach.
Well, yeah, the word was that there was a Nick discount, that the benefits you got from being at Alabama, you could play for 15, 20% less, and that discount's now gone.
All right, 15 seconds.
Here we go.
Great.
to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits in the 239 1 hour from now. Don't forget to vote in our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twix or floridasportsnetwork.com. What are you most amped up to watch this weekend? Golf, and that means Tiger for the first time in 10 months. Whether it's the Daytona 500, NBA All-Star Weekend, or college hoops of some kind. Big games this weekend. Vote accordingly. Right now, the Daytona 500 with a slight lead. Pat Kirwan joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. Hey, what are you going to do with a weekend off?
You didn't complete the list of choices on what are you going to watch this weekend. I would have voted for a rewatch the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be worried about the other stuff. I'd go watch that game again.
You're going to rewatch the Super Bowl this weekend, Pat?
I am. I'm going to watch it with calmness. I don't have to worry about handling content for the other guys. I'm going to sit and enjoy the game. I might flash to see a little bit of the golf, but I would bet you if you put that game as a rewatch, you'd have a lot of people watching it.
Well, you may have to mute it. That's all I'm going to say. You may.
But would you be kind to my comrades in arms, please?
No, not your guys. I like your guys. I enjoy your guys. Okay, I'm just saying that first half, second half, you may just that's all. Yeah, I said may. You may decide not to. That's all.
I see Mark's face. Mark thinks I'm out of my mind. Watch the game again, but
no. I am just leaving David to fight this fight himself. I'll. I know where he's going. I know the reasons he's going there. We may have some issues with some parts of the broadcast occasionally, but no. Hey, when you in all seriousness, when you rewatch it, because I know you're not making this up.
No.
What are you watching for this time?
I really want to see what each team thought they could do to the other team. What's their fundamental package? Where did I like San Francisco? Where did they think they could run the game? Why did it work or not work? Like those things, because I recall so many Super Bowls when a team got exposed and the ones who beat them, we used to call it a boilerplate, a blueprint for playing that team. And I think Kansas City dished one out. That now you have to determine, do you have the players for it? But you look at it and you start thinking, could we replicate Kansas City's view on how to stop San Francisco? And some of it requires excellent corners and stuff. But I like to watch from that because my callers are going to be calling in about stuff like that. And I do like to cite things that, just went right over the top when I was doing the game with writing out blue cards and handing them out.
Pat, you've been involved as an executive in which head coaches decide to bring back guys or get rid of guys. Kyle Shanahan gets rid of Steve Wilkes, and he says, listen, it was not easy, but it just wasn't a good fit. I can understand that. I can relate to that. Yet at the same time, it is a bad look. Isn't it? It can be both, right? It's a bad look. It looks like you're scapegoating the defensive coordinator, but that you could also be right in that, listen, you two just didn't jive.
Yeah, I get it. And I've been around it before. It sometimes disappoints me, but a lot of times I saw it coming from maybe mid-season. Here's the question I would ask if I was talking to Kyle. Were you going to keep him if you won the game? What were you going to do then? Fire him anyway? And when you look at the injuries that they had, the two defensive tackles were going right for surgeries, meniscus for the big guy, and then the thumb ligaments that are gone on Hargrave, and then you lose Greenlaw. Then on one play, you lose two defensive backs. I'd like to ask Kyle, what were you going to do if you lost Christian and Ayuk and Kittle? That's only three. What were you going to take full responsibility for what was going to happen? Because you just made Wilkes take full responsibility.
Pat, he lost Ayuk and Kittle. I mean, he just didn't bother with them at all in the game. The number of targets they had, the number of catches they had. I mean, didn't that already happen?
Well, they couldn't separate from man-to-man coverage. Go back. That's another thing I'll be watching. How often, when there was a man-to-man call, and I'll chart it, that they separated from the guy covering them. And my contention is they couldn't. Maybe that's the blueprint when you play these guys. And then do you have the talent to do it? So it's fun for me to do, and it will come up many, many times. And it'll come up when people in that division, the NFC West, start thinking about how are we going to build this team to beat those guys. And you're going to have to start looking at how Kansas City built theirs. And of course, it starts with Mahomes. But I'm going to start with the defense. If you don't have Mahomes, you don't have Mahomes. But those are the things I want to do this weekend. And I actually think I'll go to the beach too. You know.
If you're Brett Veach and Andy Reid, and I know that you can move Mahomes' contract around, you can probably afford both. But let's just say you're approaching March 13th there or 14th, whatever the day is, and it looks like you're only going to be able to keep one of these two. Going forward, who's more important? Snead, the corner, or Chris Jones, who will play next year at age 30?
Well, they play a lot of man-to-man. And Snead, now, if you can look into and this is the other thing I'm already working on, the crystal ball of who's in the draft pool, who's in the free agent pool, if I have to replace. My suggestion would be that you can't replace Chris Jones. And I would maybe prefer Snead, but the chance of getting a corner who could cover, which I would not want this to happen. But if you ask me, which one can I replace talent for talent? Do you think there's someone out there that's going to give you what Chris Jones does? I don't.
He could have been the MVP of the Super Bowl. I mean, he truly could have been. And I know we don't do that anymore and give it to defensive players, but the havoc that he created and the number of, I mean, he stopped 2 touchdowns by himself, Pat.
I know. And that's why my answer was Chris Jones. But I know those guys, they're going to have the money to get both of them done. They will be able to, because I don't think Mahomes' agent or Mahomes himself is going to go to Andy and go, hey, I did this deal to keep guys like these. Restructure mine, move that roster bonus to a signing bonus, and let's get both guys back in here.
Okay, this may get very wonky and complicated, but can you, as best you can, explain why it is Mahomes' contract gives the Chiefs all the financial flexibility that it does, and why the Burrow, Allen, Lamar contracts seemingly don't provide their teams that kind of flexibility?
Sure.
What is the difference in the Mahomes contract?
Yeah, it was a genius deal. First off, it's long, which means when you go to them this year, they're going to have enough years left on the contract to spread out what they do with the bonus. So they have a roster bonus of $35 million, which, because it's called a roster bonus, charged for the whole piece, $35 million in this cap. But if he converts it to a signing bonus, which they fully intended to do when you looked at this deal, now that $35 million becomes a signing bonus and they can spread it out over 5 years. So now instead of being charged $35 million, they're going to be charged against the cap $7 million. And then they have $28 million of cap space coming to themselves to go along with the $22 million they have now. So all of a sudden they have $50 million of cap space. And it doesn't harm Mahomes at all. He doesn't care if you change the title of the money. He's still going to receive the money exactly on the same time schedule that he was going to get if it was a roster bonus. When they built this contract, it was absolute genius that they were able to go to the bank of Mahomes, take those and convert them, and be able to move on. And they could walk around with $50 million of cap space. And that's really how you build a dynasty.
Pat, when will they have to pay the piper, so to speak? I mean, teams kick the can down the road. How long are they able to kick the can down the road? Or is this just a matter of the cap's going to go up and the deal's so right by Mahomes that they're going to be able to manufacture this for 5 years?
Well, there's a couple answers to that. The cap will go up, but the cap goes up for everybody. So as you start to use your cap space, remember, 28 million of that 35 is going to be spread out over the next 4 years. So it's a credit card, and you are paying that off. I think with Mahomes, there's nothing to worry about. That's the beauty of Mahomes. Where the trouble comes, back to David's point, is when you give Chris Jones, let's call it $27 million a year. because he's going to want something right around Bosa's deal. And then he goes down with an injury and his career's over, or he's 32 and he doesn't want to play. Well, you're going to have to accelerate all that money into the year that he walks away. And that's the hard part. I think New Orleans is starting to feel that pinch. They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, reportedly the Saints are 70+ million over the cap and don't know how many contracts they can rework, because they've seemingly reworked about 8 contracts a year. But Pat, it begs the question, well, why haven't the Bills and the Bengals and the Ravens and the other teams structured their franchise quarterback contracts the way the Chiefs did? Is it because the owners don't want to have to keep taking that much cold hard cash out of their pocket? Why did the Chiefs structure it one way and the other guys structure it differently?
It doesn't matter. They were going to pay $35 million this year, whether it was called roster or signing. So they're not spending more money. They're using the technique of these contracts to reassign the money, if you will. But it's not more money. It's not less money. It's $35 million. The other clubs, the day, and I know you guys remember this, when Mahomes signed that deal, 10-year deal, the agent community went berserk.
Yeah, he left like $150 million on the table.
Right.
Yeah. Guess what? He likes to win. And he knew, I'm going to make all the money I ever wanted, but I want to win while I'm in this league. I don't want to have $300 million in the bank when I get done and no rings. I wouldn't say it's the same as Brady, but what happened to Brady was that sooner or later, the Patriots stopped looking for the kind of players Brady wanted. Andy Reid will not do that.
Let's go to the other side, San Francisco, which has a lot of high-priced players and a low-priced quarterback. What type of problems do they have coming up, Pat? And we've got about 30 seconds on San Francisco.
They have problems. They only have like $1 million of cap space. But what they have a lot of players with big, fat paragraph 5s. And for the listeners on your show, the paragraph 5 is the salary for the year. So they're going to land up taking salaries and converting them into signing bonuses. Let's say your salary is $20 million. They make it a $15 million signing bonus and a $5 million salary. Now the guy doesn't care. He's got this $20 million. But now, instead of that, they're going to create cap space by doing that. So they got to work it from the other end.
He's Pat Kirwan, moving the chains weekdays 3 to 7 on NFL Radio, part of CBS's NFL Today show. And he joins us once again, courtesy of Pinchers.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What you guys doing today? Anything good?
I'm in Charlotte.
Yeah, I can tell from the room you're in. Are you sitting on a couch?
I am.
I saw that. I go, this is not a comfortable situation.
I am rework some things. This is the only room with light.
Yeah.
Of any kind.
And it's way better than it was at the last hotel in Kennesaw,
Yes.
where you looked like you were in the witness protection program.
I did.
Well, and Mark, you're on twice when I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I have to be because Trent's not here today.
Oh,
I'm running the
wondering why.
board. I'm running the board, and the one computer that's further away, or the camera that's further away, I've got to have that on to keep everybody on.
I got you.
And I can't see that monitor, so I put it on a second time so I can see David.
So want to hear how dumb I am? Well, as soon as I turned you guys on, I was writing something and listening, and I'm going, and I hear Fred. And I start listening, and I'm kind of interested. I look up, and I go, God, Fred looks just like Mark. And then I saw you move, and I realized it's my man twice, because there's two different angles on that.
Yeah. So have you played any golf at all since you've been back down, Pat?
No, I've only been back since Monday, but I had Tuesday. I told you I was going in to get these.
Oh, that's right.
I did both shoulders. I had one on each shoulder, and I was going to do one and then do the other one. I did both because I got to get out of here in 10 days for the combine. So he did both. I forgot, here's how stupid I am. I forgot if you do both shoulders, you really can't sleep on your side. So sleeping's been a problem, but they'll be gone now. He's going to take the stitches out on the 26th, and I leave on the 27th. Interesting guy, the doctor. He was a civil engineer who hated civil engineering, went back to med school, became a dermatologist.
Going for the Bo Jackson of professionalism there.
Yeah.
Just leaving an MBA out. Got the engineering degree, the doctor degree, just needs one more. Man,
Yeah.
That's something.
Law degree. Then he can sue everyone and know what he's talking about.
Exactly.
I had a roommate in college who was a chemical engineer. Then he got a law degree, a kid from Trinidad, and he was a real smart guy. And then he became a patent attorney in Washington, D.C. He's printing it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully when I get back from the combine to get into a regular golf schedule.
Good.
Next week, he said to me, go swing a club next week and see if you feel like it's holding. If it's holding, then go play. I said, it might make my swing nice and slow.
Right.
True.
Yeah. So we'll see what next week brings. But I definitely wasn't doing it the first couple of days. It's amazing when they stitch it up, how tight they make it. My best friend up north, I've been friends with him for 30, 40 years. He had a knee replacement. His wife passed away. He's got a knee replacement. He's by himself. Don't you know, last week, he got a staph infection in there.
Uh-oh.
And now they have to open it up, and then they couldn't flush the whole thing out. So now they're taking the joint out. He's only had it in there a month.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's very depressed. He can't do anything.
My wife's going to have a knee replacement in the summer.
Yeah.
She's already had 3 hip replacements.
Well, she can get to know Jimmy Miller. 17 surgeries later.
It's over.
Yeah. Jim is the worst guy to travel with on the camp tour. He has 2 problems. He cannot go through the metal detector.
Exactly.
So he has to go on the long line. And the second thing, which is really bad, is there's a Jim Miller on the terrorist watch list.
Oh, no.
So they pull him into the room almost every time. Yeah. How about the money CBS made? You ever think about how much money they grossed this year, regular season, those playoff games? 57 million watching Baltimore, Kansas City, 700 million, and then 60 more in the overtime. I got to call Tony Toronto and ask him. He'll tell me how much they grossed.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7. And he was just in Vegas as part of CBS's NFL Today show. So after a week in Mobile with the Senior Bowl, then a week in Vegas with the Super Bowl, Pat's got about a week and a half to chill until he heads to Indy for the Combine at the final week of this month. If we could just get serious for 30 seconds. So
Sure.
the tragedy that happened in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Do we think that is going to be a one-off in terms of next year's Super Bowl champions and beyond will no longer do the downtown parades, and instead they'll move it into a inside the stadium celebration because this way everybody can go through a metal detector? Or do you think it will just be a one-off and we'll go back to having downtown parades?
I think it'll be back into the stadium, and I don't think the NFL will be making this decision. I think, the police forces, the security, the government, FBI, they're going to get rid of these. And, why don't you throw in the Christmas parade? How are they going to have any parades where you have these volume of people where there is no way when you think about the Macy's parade in New York, that's the first thing I thought of. How many people do you think you need for security? And I'll go back to the marathon when those guys went berserk at the marathon, those two brothers. I think it's NFL will make it easy. It's in the stadium. The big board will be on. There'll be plenty of highlights, and everybody will go through a metal detector. And you still got problems in the parking lot, believe me, and you guys know it. We've had ridiculous episodes, but they'll secure this thing and no more walking down the street because it's impossible to secure a city like even Kansas City, which is not very big.
Obviously something that we'll hope never happens again, and we'll see how the league and other cities go forward with this. All right, Pat, free agency's on the verge now.
Yeah.
How many free agents will we have? How's the next couple of weeks going to go as we get prepared? I mean, guys are getting cut right and left. This is going to be the busy time is about to start once again.
Yeah, it is. So start with quarterbacks, and I'll go real fast here. How many quarterbacks I think are legitimately going to be in free agency that you got to grade somehow? 25. Most of them are backups, replacement pieces. When you think like a Flacco, and do you want him to be your backup? Those kind of things. As it relates to who's the starters, you probably have two, Cousins and Mayfield. I think Tannehill's gone to the backup role. So you got to look at 25 guys. I'm just working on my own assignments here. 30 veteran running backs that you got to look at. What are you looking for? A first and second down back? You're looking for a third down back? You're looking for just a utility guy? Go to the wide receivers. There's over 50 wide receivers already, and we haven't started really to have the cuts. But there's going to be 50 wide receivers that I'm looking at that I better know as time goes on. 25 tight ends, but I'm only going to do 10 of them. Small group. Now, some of these groups are very interesting. I'll get to one in a second. Centers and guards. I got 15 centers and 30 guards that need to be studied so you can deal with them. And this is a project that takes a long time. Offensive tackles, here we go, down to 10. Bad group. And when you think about that, you got to marry the pro guys to the draft. You go right down the hall and you ask your college scouting director, how's the offensive tackle group look to you? Pretty good. We got 3 first rounders, 5 second rounders, and 8 thirds. Okay. We're going to have to draft one because I'm not going to spend money on these guys. Defensive ends, outside linebackers, about 50 there. Here's the interesting group, and I'll just jump to it. It's the safeties. I was talking to, what's his name yesterday, Geno Stone. When you look at the safety group, you really want to hit free agency rather than a draft. I got 20 names, and of the 20, 18 of them are in their 20s. Quickly, guys like McKinney, 25, Stone, 25, Blackman, 26, Fuller, 26. So I look at these things and go, where do I have to wait for the draft? Where can I hit and get myself a competent starting safety if I need one that's young? Because most of the guys nowadays are not buying the 30-year-olds. So that's where I'm sorting this out.
Although I think there's an opportunity. The Bears released 2 solid players. I mean, the offensive lineman, I think now is more of a center than a guard. But Eddie Jackson, to me, can still play. You know, Pat, I thought of a team like the Carolina Panthers, who desperately need to do for their quarterback what the Bills did for Josh Allen 6 years ago and buy him an offensive line. If I'm Carolina, I don't let that Bear lineman who just got released, white hair, I don't let him reach. I mean, he's a free agent today. I sign him this weekend.
Yeah. So when you look at Whitehair, and I know a lot about him because Jim covers them, and I agree, he's a center more than he's a guard. The problem with him is his shotgun snaps are really scary. And so I had a coach say, yeah, I like him. He's a hard-nosed guy and versatile, but if you want him at center, you got to hold your breath on the shotgun snaps. And he's one of those guys that flips the ball, and occasionally it's a mess. But why would I go and get Eddie Jackson? Now I would go after him now and say, listen to me. Here's the list. We got 20 guys that are going to be 25, 26. And there you are, Eddie. You take this deal now, we'll close shop on that. But if you don't, and that door opens for free agency, I'll be all over Kyle Duggar, all these other guys that are in this list. So, yeah, you have the leverage to do it. And if the player's smart, he's thinking, let me get something now. But when you call those guys, you're not looking to give them a big fat deal. You're looking to get them on the bargain.
So that's the other part of free agency. Guys that are being cut now, before free agency begins in full, there are players who are being cut that you can sign. So pay attention to the daily transactions. Pat, it sounds like this is almost the sneaky time of free agency. This is where, as you said, you can save some money and maybe get a player that otherwise is going to be out there with the free agent market. Try to save your team some money.
Absolutely. And you can also, I don't like to use the word scare, but Geno Stone loves being a Raven. They drafted him late, 7th round guy. He has turned into an interception machine. He had 7 of them last year. He loves the Ravens. When the time comes here, I'd be calling him going, don't put us in a position to got to go out and get your replacement. Let's do a deal. And let's do a 2 or 3 year deal so you can get back into free agency again. But I know, and I talk about this on this show a lot as we get into March and then even April, the amount of 1 year deals that come along now just floods free agency again next year. And it just works for the owners. Free agency has become an owner's tool. How many guys are going to make big money? Not many.
You're the Bengals, I mean, they're indicating they're going to move on from Joe Mixon. Can you afford to keep T. Higgins versus can you afford not to? To me, I think they've got a good 3 receiver. I thought they drafted a kid last year who could see the field. This is a deep draft for wide receivers. If I'm the Bengals, I'm leaning towards moving on from T. Higgins.
I would have a deal offered to him. It would have some parameters that he might not like. If you franchise tag him, it's over. He's just going to play for you. They typically have some space to do it. But I'm with you on this. The Joe Mixon piece, Joe played pretty darn good this year. He's a competitive horse, but I'm not paying him. And, do I like all these? Saquon Barkley, he'll be tagged in. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Eckler, DeAndre Swift. I love when they say, we love Eckler. That was Jim Harbaugh. Was he recruiting him? Recruit with dollars, just like the colleges, except there's a salary cap in the NFL and there's no salary cap in college.
When you look at Mike Evans, do you see him being a buck next year, or do you think his demand on the open market's going to be enough to take him away from Tampa?
I think I've talked to him. He says all the right things, so I've heard it all before. I really want to be a buck. I think for him, is Baker Mayfield getting signed first. I don't think he's going back there if he doesn't have someone that can get him the ball, and he knows Baker can get him the ball. I think they'll throw a deal at him that he might be interested in. He's 31 years old.
Yeah, I know. At last chance to get paid. He's Pat Kirwan. We've got a whole list of guys that we can talk to Pat about over the next few weeks before free agency hits. Pat, enjoy watching the Super Bowl again in your weekend, and we'll talk next week.
Text me and tell me how Tiger's doing so I can stay up to date on that.
Okay.
We'll do. Let me know who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, could be a change of score. I'll wait.
I like overtime, by the way. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show. Joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to
guys.
the Hitching Post Shopping Center.
Take care, Pat. Have a good one.
Island-inspired
Take
food
care.
with a true
See you, man.
tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I don't know about that Spitz, because for this reason, Giannis came out the other day and said, I think we're headed in the right direction. He goes, I know our one-loss record over the last 3 weeks doesn't show that. He goes, but I'm telling you, we've made some changes. I think it'll fit our players better. He goes, and then they went out that night and whacked Denver. So I don't know about that. Oh, Spitz. I think the only guy who's got more time off is Howard Stern.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour, and that'll be the Diamond District bonus hour for our 239 audience. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Our poll question today. So what are you most excited about to watch this weekend? Golf, which is, Tiger. He's playing for the first time in 10 months in a real tournament. He shot a 1 over 72 yesterday, 5 birdies, 6 bogeys, a shank on 18. Complained of back spasms at the end of his round. He's 48, So you got golf, you got the Daytona 500, you got All-Star Weekend in the NBA, and you got a big weekend of college hoops. I think I'm most excited hoops-wise, Mark, about the FAU South Florida game Sunday.
I am also. It would be really nice to see USF pull off the upset. A sold-out crowd. South Florida has to win the game to have any sort of shot at the tournament. And I don't even know what that win would do for them.
Well, if you go by the damn analytics, Mark, they have no shot to get an at-large. They're like in the low 100s, and you got to be really in the 40s to get, although there are some, because the analytics are really off. You got the net, and then you got somebody else's system, and with certain teams, they can be radically different. I got to admit, I like the old RPI. I actually thought it was more accurate than what's going on now.
What's Ken Palm say? I mean, David,
seriously,
you're right.
But here's the irony. South Florida is actually in first place in the American, not nationally ranked FAU. They're a game back. So, South Florida go a long way to being the 1 seed in the upcoming AAC conference tournament with a home win Sunday. FAU is about a 6-7 seed in the tournament in most bracketologists' brackets right now.
But you are right. Tomorrow, really solid day for college basketball.
Yeah.
All kinds of ranked teams playing, few of them on the road, which always leads to opportunities.
Is Marquette for real? We find out tomorrow. I don't even think they have to win, but Marquette against UConn. Okay. All right. They're talking about you as a 1 seed, Marquette. Well, defending national champs who may arguably be the best team again this year. So let's see what you got.
Kentucky goes to Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn just got done destroying South Carolina.
For what it's worth, game day is going to be there. So, they'll get the students out early. They'll be loud. They'll be drunk. They'll be fired up. It's Kentucky after all in hoops. So, Kentucky's finally healthy for the first time in a month. They went through the little losing streak. They did have some injuries. So now they have absolutely no excuses unless they suffer any more injuries the rest of the way. All the guys are back. All of them. So
I'm interested in that game as well because Kentucky, with that little skid they've had, they defensively haven't been as good as I think they should be. And Auburn's a tough place to play right now. They've got it going on.
So that's their 4 choices. Little golf, little Daytona 500, little NBA All-Star Weekend, some college hoop. What are you most amped up about? Mark voted for Tiger. I voted for Daytona. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, floridasportsnetwork.com.
The NBA All-Star Weekend coming in last, by the way. That is the one that you have the least amount of interest in.
Not a surprise along the west coast of Florida.
Not at all.
No. Like even during the pandemic when the Raptors had to play games in Tampa. And, Tampa's a pretty good sports market. And Tampa was like, whatever. Let us know how the game turned out.
I don't even know if they went that far. I really don't.
So that's what's going on this weekend. So Tigers unveiled a new everything. Gone is the TW, by the way. That's gone.
Right.
All that logo's gone. He's given it up. He's not wearing anything with that on it. He's got this new Sun Day Red. 3 words. All right, because on Sundays he wears the red Power golf shirt, so yeah. Apparently it's got 15 they've got some logo of some kind that has 15 stripes in it. 1 for each major. So of course he was asked, well, what if you win another major? And he said, well, we'll alter the logo. Okay. Back to you.
Win another major.
I
That's
know.
fun. That's
hysterical. Cute. It is.
I would never want to be. There are times that you root in this business to be wrong. There really is. And not so much with picking games. You want to be right when you pick games. But when you say, I was talking with some people the other day and we were talking about quarterbacks. And if I say, we were talking about Caleb Williams last night at the soccer practice. And I'm a Jordan Daniels guy. That's the guy I'd draft. Of the quarterbacks, that's the guy I'm most high on. I think he is going to be a phenomenal NFL player. And when I start talking about guys that are going to be bad, I'm like, I want them to be good. We don't root for anyone to be bad. I don't want Tiger to never win again. I would love to see Tiger win again. Realistically, I don't think it can happen. Nothing I would rather be wrong about, because I can't imagine Tiger winning a tournament, let alone another major. And what the reaction would be.
It is amazing to me that he is not going, and I agree completely with you. First off, he's hardly going to play in a tournament if it's not a major. So to get a tournament win, that's a non-major. I mean, Mark, he's planning, I think, to play in more majors a year than he is non-majors.
Or at least the equal number.
I would love for Tiger to play 4 non-majors a year. That'd be 8 tournaments out of Tiger. That'd be a busy year. I don't know how many years Tiger's going to play more than 6 times. And the Genesis will be one in, we think, either the Players or Arnie.
He'll play a Florida tournament, you would imagine.
Right. And then probably the 4 majors. I don't think he'll play the Memorial again. It's 2 weeks before the U.S. Open. I don't think he'll do it. Plus, it's not an easy course to walk. Walking up to the 18th green alone in Dublin is a pain in the butt. I don't think Tiger plays Jack's tournament anymore. But it's amazing that Tiger is only going to end up tied with Sam Snead for most career tournament wins. Amazing. Because of, injuries and personal failures and all that. I mean, Sam Snead's at 82. Tiger tied him. It really looked like Tiger was going to end up with over 100 wins.
And now it just seen if yesterday with citing the back spasms, will he play? Will he just play 4 days right now? I mean, that's the first question. To see him play 4 days in a row and have limited health problems would be step one. Because I don't think there's going to be a tournament he plays in where he says, I feel 100%. I don't think those days happen ever again.
So he was asked about his technique, that, hey, in the past, you've been a stickler for, your technique and your form and what have you. And he gave it, I thought, an interesting answer. He said, yeah, I'm more interested in my hands these days, and I'm just trying to make solid contact. He goes, my swing is my swing. I've worked hard the last few years with everything that's gone on. I think I've kind of figured out a way to swing the club, and I don't know that I can swing it any differently. And he goes, so I'm basically just worried about my hands, and I'm just trying to make solid contact. If I make solid contact, I can live with that. I mean, tell me that doesn't sound like a 12 handicapper. My swing is my swing. I'm just trying to make solid contact.
David, at 1:30, those are the same things I'm going to say to myself before I strike the ball. Just hoping to make solid contact out there today.
And the reason Tiger's worried about his hands, he's talked about this for a long time, is that he feels he still has good enough hands for the short game. You know, not to have the yips putting, to be able to get up and down around the greens. And so, and when Tiger won the Masters, what was it, 5 years ago, 2019? Okay, when Tiger won the Masters and he was asked, did you think that, and he said, yes, because I didn't lose my hands. He said, of everything that happened to me, okay, I still kept my hands. And so I knew if physically I could swing the club, I knew I still had the hands to win. Because we've talked about it for years, Mark. How many golfers, when they get to 34, 35, lose their hands? I mean, Scotty Scheffler right now can't putt.
And David, Rory's not that far away. You know, I was watching yesterday, both Rory and Scheffler are hitting iron shot after iron shot into 8 feet. And, you know, Scheffler flat out, I mean, I watched him miss the hole from 6 feet. Miss the hole. These guys are better than that.
Did you see what his greens and regulation stats are so far? They're 88%. I mean, he's hitting the ball. He really is. Statistically, he's hitting the ball every bit as good as Tiger at peak Tiger. And he can't make, there's 70 guys in this field. He was 66th in putting yesterday. Scheffler. Number 1 in ball striking. He's not 30, is he?
No.
He's like 27, isn't he? I mean, Rory's 34. Rory's approaching the line. But, I mean, it's remarkable that Scotty Scheffler, as well as he's played, PGA Tour Player of the Year last year, and he couldn't putt.
27 years old. He'll be 28 in June.
And he can't, this 2 years, it's a good year and a half. He can't make a putt.
How hard must that be? And the fact that it hasn't really morphed into the rest of his game, David. That he's still right now the best ball striker in the world. Because when you can't putt, sooner or later it starts affecting the rest of your bag. But it hasn't with him.
Right, because how close do I have to hit it? I hit it to 6 feet, I couldn't make it. How much closer do I have to continuously hit this ball to actually walk away with a birdie? Right. Never mind, he's playing with at least one guy every day in the group who starts rolling it. Just kind of looks at him like, sorry, dude. So, got that going on. Let's see. Tiger will make the cut. Is the Cutlass tournament 70 guys? I'm pretty sure all 70 make it to the weekend, right? We don't have a cut today, do we?
I don't believe so.
And so he'll play the weekend, and let's see if he can, as Mark said, can he get through 4 rounds and at the end of it go, yeah, I feel pretty good, because that's the big test. You know, he has not made it through a major healthy since the car accident. Even when he's completed the 1 Masters, he played 72 holes. On the weekend, he was limping around, barely breaking 80. So there you go.
Yesterday, no problem making birdies, just too many damn bogeys for one Tiger Woods as he shot a 1 over 72.
My buddy said there is a cut at Riviera. So I don't know. It's a 70-man field. I guess what, 40?
Top 50?
I get Tiger only beat 10 guys yesterday, so he's got some work to do then.
They better change that cut around.
Hey, if he misses the cut, he's got to stay for the weekend, though. He's hosting. I mean, maybe he'll join the booth. Maybe that's who's going to replace Azinger, Mark.
That would be something.
Yeah.
Because I've got to tell you, you know, and I watched a little bit of golf coverage. They've got nobody doing the Thursday and Friday. There's no names on there anymore. And I know that's, B team type coverage, but it used to be a few recognizable names. There's not a whole lot on that anymore.
Miller and Moulton. We're off Monday. So for those of you along the network who are leaving us, have a great President's Day weekend. Enjoy your sports. Enjoy your family. First weekend in a while without football. We will be back on Tuesday. For those in the 239, well, the Diamond District bonus hour is next. Don't go anywhere. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You know, Grizzle, you're probably just a little bit worried because when you see a host producing, you know that it could happen to you too. Oh, we can do it all if we have to.
Were you talking to me?
No.
Okay. By the way, I did alert the gentleman in Port Charlotte to the situation. He said, thank you. I'll get it corrected.
It sounds like there's an infomercial that just keeps playing over the show.
Yeah, that's why I let him know. And he said, on it. That was a worthwhile exercise this week, reaching out.
Sure.
Because first off, there's been a lot of changes, like when Marty sent out the info about Lake City. Yeah, all those guys aren't there. They're totally new guys. In fact, the person responsible, apparently the company has a cluster in Valdosta. They're technically running it, but they assign somebody to it who lives there. I mean, you know, the Frank guy in Port Charlotte took over like a month ago. So a bunch of new people actually at 2 of our 3 affiliates. Then it's important. The syndicator, apparently we may be being syndicated a different way here in the near future. So all the syndicator needed all that info. Albert needed all that info. And never mind now if there's a problem, Trent, knows who to email and call.
Yes. That's all good. All right, I'm flipping it back over.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Final hour of the week. Final hour that we'll do live until Tuesday. Best of on Monday, President's Day. And then the 3 of us will be back. No Trent today. He had to head back home, take care of something. But he'll be back home, Michigan, if you don't already know. And he'll be back. The gang will be back together again on Tuesday. So there you go.
You know, I do give Trent we give him a little grief for the Michigan thing because he's young. When I first started doing this, I couldn't help. When I first started doing radio in this market, when I was doing mornings and you're doing afternoons, literally it was the tournament time. And Sparty made a run. And I couldn't help myself doing a show. So I give him a little bit of credit for being able to, it's hard when you want to talk about your team and your teams. And we've suspended him from talking about one team until he's back on Tuesday.
Right. He lost that bet about the Pistons. He's had to go nearly a month, at least 3 weeks, without being able to talk about the Pistons. Now, got to admit, not quite sure what the heck it is we'd talk about.
I think we should extend that until they win double-digit games.
They're still in single digits, huh?
Yes.
Wow. Well, we'll just play. Listen, he loses more bets than I do. So I just say we make a very early bet next week. He'll lose it, and we can extend the Pistons ban.
Seems fair enough. Seems fair enough. Had Pat Kirwan on the show today. Talked a little free agency, starting to wet your whistle with what's upcoming. I will say the numbers that he unloads as far as free agency is staggering, the number of players each year.
The NFL has new leadership amongst its players. Problem is the collective bargaining agreement's got so many more years to run on it. But you wonder, Mark, will there ever be in our lifetime one more really big contractual fight between the NFL players and the owners? I mean, in the 80s, we had 2 strikes. We had what, 10, 12 years ago, there was actually a holdout lockout situation that was at the beginning of training camp. And I think it even went into early August. Don't even know if like some preseason games were in jeopardy. But I'm just wondering, there's so many things we think the league has over the players. And I just wonder, Mark, with all the money involved, it's a $20 billion annual industry. Do you think the players have one more, no, man, we ain't going to play?
David, I really don't. And I know anything's possible, but when you look at the length of the time that most guys play in the league, and unless somehow all of the power of the players goes to 8 quarterbacks, I don't see how it happens. Because like right now, and it's a tough comparison. Might even be a terrible comparison, but I'm going to do it anyhow. Golf right now, all the power on the PGA Tour, from the player standpoint, the top players have.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that PIP fund goes. That's why Tiger gets paid more money for being Tiger. The guys that are ranked, 21 through 125 on that tour don't matter. In football, they matter a little bit more. A lot more. So to me, that change would have to come unless there's a power shift at the players union. And right now, I don't believe the NFL players union has any power over what edge would they have, David? Because I can't see the owners locking them out. They have everything their way right now. What would the owners lock them out for?
Well, the owners would lock them out because the players are pounding the table wanting dramatic changes, and the owners are like, no. And the owners are like, sorry, we have the leverage. We'll win. And as Billie Jean King famously said 50 years ago, the only leverage you have as an athlete is to not play. I mean, that's what ultimately, and that's what happened in the 80s. I mean, it did. First time we had a strike, there was no football of any kind. There was no replacement players. There was no football for 2 months. We only had 9 games played in a 16-game season in 1982. 9. We had no football for 2 months. And then in 87, when it started happening again, we missed 1 week of football. It gave the teams a week to round up a bunch of truck drivers. And then we had 3 weeks of strike football. And during those 3 weeks, certain teams had more guys cross the picket line than others, etc. But basically, of the 15 games played that year, only 12 of them were with regular guys. And we haven't come close to anything like that since.
I can't see a situation where we as football fans would accept replacement players anymore, though.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, here's where I would combat you on that. Mark, you and I do not understand it. The fan sides with the man over the athlete almost every time.
I agree.
They just want to see the helmet and the shoulder pads. They don't care if it's Frank Callahan, okay, working for the local brewery. I need to see my Steelers on Sunday, even if they're imitation Steelers. Get them on the damn field.
Yeah, those last strikes, we didn't have gambling as widespread as we did. And you know what we didn't have fantasy football, David.
That's true. No, it's so much bigger now. I mean, the first strike in 82, baseball was still the number 1 sport in the country. By 87, they were 1 and 1A. Right. Oh no, we didn't have free agency. We did not have free agency. We didn't have a cap. We didn't have free agency when we had those 2 strikes. I just, the players a smaller percentage of the revenue now than they've had since the 90s. We all know the whole guaranteed contract situation. I'm just wondering, do you think, because there's a lot of issues that they could really lay down the law on, and they seemingly for 20 years have rolled over.
And the owners would lock them out over guaranteed contracts. If that was their line in the sand, there would be a lockout. Guaranteed. And the owners would win again. Because when your career's only 3 years, and the owners would have no problem looking them dead in the eye and say, we'll take a year off.
You know what I would love to know? The wording in the television contracts. Like, do the networks have to pay the full rate if those are not the regular guys? If the helmets and shoulder pads are the same, but the guys wearing them are different, do the networks still have to pay the full rate? Because, Mark, I think that's the only way the players would win. If all of a sudden the networks that week say to the NFL, well, I don't know what to tell you, but the check ain't going to the mail. To read page 13, paragraph 2, subsection C.
You actually hit the only way it would happen if they don't get their money from TV.
But I don't know. Just wondering. Hey, speaking of money, so the young lady Lisa Lopez Galvin, who was killed Wednesday in the Chiefs' so-called victory parade, left the husband and 2 kids, and the family wanted to raise some money. The kids aren't in college, and they just, hey, if you could help out. And so the goal was to raise $75,000. Okay. Taylor Swift just wrote a check for $100,000.
But let's make sure we hate her some more. She ruined the NFL.
She sucks.
She's ruining music. She cannot suck enough.
Nope, she's awful.
Gives 3-hour concerts. Actually writes and plays her own instruments.
By the way, she sent the money. She's in Australia, but made sure she $100,000. So they had already raised 80,000, but now they're at $180. So it's just worth mentioning, I think.
Yes, it is. I saw that as well. 21,000's the text line, 21000. Had a texter say he thought he caught a glitch, that there was a bet on the Hard Rock app for Super Bowl 58. So he tried to sneak a bet in. They voided his bet. I give him credit for trying to sneak in the wrong bet.
What was the bet? Could you bet on overtime? I mean, what was the bet? Overtime?
It was the Super Bowl just happened, but it was the conference to win, but it was the wrong year. So he bet on the Chiefs to win the conference.
Outstanding.
He said it would have been a little bit of money. He said he was hoping maybe for the Hard Rock to give me a hotel room for the weekend, a little something for the effort, but they just voided the bet on the typo. So you can't outgame a gamer. That's tough to do. But I give him credit for trying.
How many people are going to pull a Pat Kirwan? Or maybe have already done it this week. I mean, NFL Networks, I think, aired the game every night. How many people have rewatched the Super Bowl? Pat's going to do that this weekend. He said that's his big thing. I'm going to rewatch the game.
David, you'll probably laugh at me for this, but if I didn't have another soccer tournament this weekend, I was going to ask Pat, can I watch it with you? Because I've only been able to watch football with Pat once. You learn. I just sat there and I was question after, he probably got sick of it. That's probably why he left at halftime. But we did a Thursday night football game at the bar, and I'm like, what are you watching? Now what are you watching? What is it? How do you take in a game? And it's different than the way we take in a game. He's made me change the way I watch football. He wrote that book, Take Your Eye Off the Ball. And that's his philosophy. He's watching the line first. That's his first thing, is watching the offensive line. So that sets up everything of what I need to look at next.
Which is funny because I oftentimes, at least working the games, find myself watching the secondary. The safety will dictate the coverage. If the guy goes in motion, I'll know pre-snap if it's man or zone. And so it's funny. I'm watching the back seven more often than I'm watching the pit.
Well, and he may be doing that before the play. When the play starts, he says, I'm always watching. The first thing I watch, I'm not watching the quarterback going back. I'm watching the line. I can tell right away what the play is. I don't have to watch the quarterback to watch run or pass. So it very well may be the case. But it was fascinating to finally watch a game with Pat because he watches it differently than I watch it. And it would be fun with the Super Bowl, but I'll be at a soccer tournament in Cape Coral.
Of course you will.
It's what I do, David.
Miller and Moulton. If you missed it, encourage you to download it. An interview in our 7 o'clock hour with Freddie Wehbe. He's running the Florida Victorious. We'll talk more about that on the other side.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Sounds a little bit like David Sampson. He does. Drew, we did a whole segment on it, by the way, the third segment of the 7 o'clock hour with the guy who's responsible for raising the money, Freddie Wehbe. So
He played baseball, first of all. So whoever's got the football record is way more impressive, and we don't celebrate that. Whoever's got the hockey record is way more impressive. We don't talk about that.
How do you teach it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. You learned. I used to learn from you.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
"21 minutes past the hour. Final couple segments of the show and of the week, the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks for being with us. We had a couple texts and also someone in our Twitch chat room who's like, "Hey, you guys going to talk about the money problems that the University of Florida is having?" Well, a few things there. Number one, believe it or not, we actually did with the guy who's been hired to raise the money for the University of Florida's NIL program, Freddie Wehbe. So download that interview if you missed it. Took place final segment of the 7 o'clock hour at floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark was impressed with the expression that he used.
Yeah, pay to play.
Just cut.
I'm not sure the NCAA. I don't want to know if we want to forward that interview to the NCAA.
Well, once again, the collective is not, it's not under the university umbrella. Of course, they raise they're right to the side of the university, and then they take the money and they hand it to the athletic department. Okay, but it's not, he's not a University of Florida employee. I think he said in the interview he's got 11 people that are out raising money for the, what's it called? Florida Victorious? Right.
Is the latest Florida collective.
And we asked him, we said, listen, there are headlines that you guys are, quote, broke. He said, yeah, that's laughable. He goes, we just need more money. And he basically said, I believe in the interview, I think he mentioned that they've got like 5 million. They're funding 200 athletes right now. Now, Florida happens to have 500 athletes playing their sports, but 200 of them right now get cash. But he made no bones about it. He said, hey, the more cash we have, the more winning we'll do. Period.
Our job is to collect money to help the coaches win.
Yeah. That's a direct quote from Freddie Wehbe on our show about an hour and 40 minutes ago.
That's about as matter of fact as you can get with the current situation of collegiate athletics.
He said that there are 3 big problems. We only talked about 2 of them. He said the biggest problem is, first off, we just haven't gotten the word out to all the Gator alumni. They don't really know who we are, what we're doing, what it is we're trying to do. He goes, that's on us. We have failed. And they're starting a marketing campaign beginning today, actually. You may drive around the state wherever you are and see billboards in the near future. Florida victorious. They're trying to get the word out as to who they are and what they're doing. Huh, okay. And the second thing that we got into with him is, so how much resistance are you getting to just get the college sports fan who, didn't want to know about whatever money was under the table all these years and whatever arrangements were being made? How much trouble are you having getting the Gator fan to pay for play? And he said, oh, that's a big issue.
And he said it's a really big issue with the former Gator athletes. We're like, wait a minute. I didn't make any money while I played.
Right.
Now you're coming to me saying I need to pay so that we can win?
Now, the third problem, which we didn't get into, we were trying to cover as many bases as we could. And I know this is a problem because I saw a quote of his in an Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel story. Is, Mark, there are a lot of people, and because you're a Michigan State alum, you're constantly hit up for money for various causes. You have been now for 30 years. And I'm sure there were times when you laughed and you said, I don't have any money. Okay. And then you've gotten stuff in which you go, well, I ain't going to give my money for that. And what he addressed is, there's a lot of Gator fans that they want a different football coach. And so they're like, well, I ain't going to give you any money because to me, if I give you money, it's going to help Billy Napier stay here. I don't want Billy Napier to stay here. And what Freddie's issue is, he's trying to look at them going, forget who the football coach is. This is about our, players. I mean, whether Billy's the coach or you're the coach or I'm the coach, this is about getting better players. Okay. And there are a lot, Mark, you know how it works. I ain't going to give you money till you get rid of that coach. Call me when you fire him.
And that's now the unprecedented power that boosters always had, but now have, to me, in a more transparent and open way. And that's scary. Because how long is it going to be before someone who's running a Florida Victorious somewhere comes out and, he's asked, well, we can't get any donations. Why? They don't like the coach.
And you have to explain to them, this is really separate of the coach. This is about the players. Okay, so do you want us to keep getting inferior players? Okay, and then what? Then you'll start? Okay, eventually we get the coach fired. Great. So then you're going to help us get better players? So you're going to help us lose, essentially, before you're going to help us win? But, Mark, we've seen this. Hell, there are boosters. Listen, even at FGCU, the 4 boosters got Michael Fly fired 2 years ago. 4 guys, I know them. They got him fired. They said, we're withholding money. If you get rid of them, we'll give you money. Boom, done. I mean, when you only got 9 boosters and 4 of them unite, that's it. It's over. I mean, we see it on T. Boone Pickens. Remember when he did the 60-minute sit down and was asked point blank, so if you don't like a coach, and he said, probably going to have a new coach.
But now it seems as if the collective is also damn near the GM and the AD isn't, if you know what I mean. It's that the AD is the Lakers GM right now. Has no real say-so on personnel or on coaches. It's done by, in this case, the collectives.
Well, Ohio State in the transfer portal this offseason has reportedly spent $5 million just on the football team. That's what's out there. The players that Ohio State has brought in for the football team this year, they spent $5 million to get. And as Freddie tried to say in our interview, listen, you could hate the system. I don't know what to tell you. The Supreme Court's the one that changed the rules. I don't think they're getting changed back. So basically, he's like, try to come to terms with it as quickly as possible. We need your money. It ain't changing.
Said that twice. I mean, did allude to that 2 different times. For those that don't like it. And if you're a college football fan, David, there's nowhere really, I mean, if that's your favorite sport, where do you go?
Right. Now, I think you stay, but some may just enjoy it less. Doesn't mean as much. Maybe you don't spend as much time and as money. Maybe you don't go to as many games. Maybe you give up your tickets and you just stay at home.
Or do you just moan and complain during the offseason, and once those Saturdays in September and October roll along, it's go Gators! Go Noles! Go Canes!
Well, and also, Mark, does it eventually become, if you can't beat them, join them? Don't you have to go, I hate this, but give me the checkbook. Miller and Moulton.
Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. Online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the Rutgers coach's quote? By the way, in the Twitch chat room, it's not the Ford C. Frick Award. That's baseball. It's the Pete Rozelle Award. Is the NFL Media Hall of Fame Award. And yes, Musburger's not in. It's a bone of contention. Aikman's not in also, which is interesting. There are 3 former players who have won the Rozelle Award. Summerall, Len Dawson, and Dan Dierdorf are the 3. No, not Summerall. I'm sorry. It's 3 Hall of Fame players who have also gotten in the Hall of Fame as broadcasters. Len Dawson, Dan Dierdorf, and don't know why I'm blanking on the 3rd. Oh, Gifford, Frank Gifford. Mark, did you see the Rutgers men's basketball coach?
I did not.
He was asked about Ken Pomeroy's rankings after the game. He said, I need to recruit him because this guy has an answer for everything. He's never played. I don't think he shoots well or is a good defender, but he has an answer to everything. I don't know. Still got to play the games.
Got that right.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Our remaining moments of the show and of the week. Best of Miller and Moulton on Monday, President's Day. Back live on Tuesday. David Sampson, Pat Kirwan will be amongst our guests. Our poll question, what are you most fired up to watch this weekend? Golf. Tiger better do something today. There's a cut at Riviera. We didn't think so. Found out there was. He needs to pass 10 to 12 players today, Mark, to make sure he plays the weekend. So what are you thinking? About a 1 under 70 or 2 under 69 does he need to make it?
I think 1 under would do it.
Okay.
And he made enough birdies to do that yesterday. He'll have him for a large part of the portion of the round and Golf Channel today, I would imagine. He played a little earlier yesterday.
So golf, Daytona 500, weather permitting. Will it be Sunday? Will it be Monday? NBA All-Star Weekend. A lot going on. Dunk contests, 3-point contests, the special contest between Steph and Sabrina Ionescu. And the game, of course, East versus West. Supposedly they're going to play it legit. We'll see. And then college hoops, big weekend. Top 5 matchup in the Big East. Marquette and UConn. Key games all around. Gators have had a couple nice wins lately. Can they keep it going and not stumble? Because right now they're in. They've played their way from the wrong side of the bracket to on the bubble to in. So they're not even play-in right now. They're in. Can they stay there?
What a horribly disappointing basketball season for the Canes. I mean, the Gators are in, but what the Canes have done this year is just very unexpected. I mean, I know they lost some players from last year's team, but that was not supposed to happen this year.
And Mark, I don't know if there's enough meat left on their regular season bone, if you will, to play their way in. Like, even if they run the table the rest of the way, I still wonder if they're going to have to do something significant in the ACC tournament. So
I would imagine that they're going to have to do a lot of significant things. Yeah, Shelby Mast has them still at others considered for at-large bids, but wow, they're going to have to do a lot to make that happen again.
FAU at South Florida Sunday for first in the American. Sold out Bulls Arena. Good for them. Hope they play well.
If for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry, here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1953 today, when Ted Williams safely lands his damaged Panther jet. He's awarded an air medal for it. If he wasn't good at everything already.
Exactly.
Wilt becomes the first to get to 30,000 points today in 72. Benny Parsons wins Daytona in 75 because Cale Yarborough spins Pearson out on the last lap. That was the fight, right, David?
No.
What year was the fight?
79. What year are you talking about?
This is 75. So Yarborough did this a lot. I mean, he routinely wrecked guys on the last couple of laps.
Well, he was near the front.
Hayden wins his second gold today in 80, this time in the 5,000. He had won the 500 the day before. 86, Jeff Bodine wins the Daytona 500 on fuel mileage.
When Earnhardt's got the field covered and he cuts a tire on the final lap. Cuts a tire.
Davey Allison would win in 92. That was Richard Petty and A.J. Foyt's final Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon wins in 97. In 03, David's favorite 500, Michael Waltrip, your winner after 109 laps.
The Daytona 272.
And today in 05, Bettman canceled the rest of the NHL season. Was that your boycott year?
No. I was actually in favor of it. I really was. I was disappointed it had come to that, but I was actually in favor of it. I agreed with what they were talking about. I thought the game, it was like impossible to score 3 goals in a game anymore. It was just too much clutching and grabbing and stick work. And I actually thought that, you know what? They're right about this. Do it.
Sonny Bono would have celebrated a birthday today. Ice-T is 66. John McEnroe, 65. Mark Price is 60. Jerome Bettis is 52. And the Weekend is 34. What did I miss, David?
A couple things. First off, you mentioned Sonny Bono. Yesterday, Chris Farley would have been 60. And so I found myself watching a bunch of old Chris Farley clips. One of them was he gets dressed up as Newt Gingrich and goes on to the floor of the House and is talking to the Republican caucus as Newt Gingrich because he played Newt on Saturday Night Live. So he did Newt in front of Newt to the Republican caucus. Okay. And he said a whole bunch of bills that I want voted on right now. Okay. Are you ready? And he goes through all of them, imaginary names and numbers, the whole deal. And finally he says, and in bill number 832, Sonny Bono will stand up and sing, I Love You, Newt. Or no, I've got you, Newt.
I've got you,
Newt.
Yeah.
Newt, instead of I've got you, babe. I've got you, Newt. So, by the way, the first 911 call was placed in the U.S. today in 68. Remember Bill Johnson, what a big deal this was? The U.S., we had never won the downhill in Olympic skiing, and Bill Johnson came out of nowhere. Sarajevo won the downhill. Shocked the Olympics. And 101 years ago, we opened up King Tut's tomb. Just for the heck of it, I guess. So, that's it.
All right. Fair enough.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Peter von Tegen Buskov in Denmark, where he set a world's record when he stuffed 68 matchsticks into his nostrils.
Wow.
The 39-year-old was awarded the title for most matches held in the nose when he surpassed the Guinness Book of World Records goal of 45 matchsticks. I want to know who came up with the idea of sticking matchsticks up your nose to get a world record.
Thank you. I mean, aren't you supposed to reject certain premises if you're the Guinness Book of World Records? Hey, we'd like to. No, not interested.
No. I just wanted to read the story. For the bad, we go to Winter Haven, Florida, where Anthony Lewis spent Valentine's Day in jail. See, he was trying to make up with his ex-girlfriend, and he thought, I got to get her something. I got to do something special.
Mm-hmm.
So he stole statues from people's front yards and then delivered them to his ex-girlfriend. One of the statues that he stole was on the front lawn of a woman's house that was dedicated by her deceased husband.
Oh, boy.
And he stole that. So she didn't take it lightly. He was booked and prosecuted for theft. Finally, the ugly. We go to Lake County, where an Illinois man had to show up for DUI class. He showed up and he fell asleep. So the sergeant at the facility attempted to wake the man up, informing him in order to receive his credit, he would need to be awake and alert. It was at that point that the sergeant noticed that the individual's breath smelled of alcohol. So he asked him to leave. The man didn't like that and decided to shove the sergeant and was arrested on the spot.
Oh, no.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, February the 16th, 2024.
Listen, no NBA because it's All-Star Weekend. One hockey game tonight. One. I think it's Carolina at Arizona.
I do not get this league, David. They play 14 games on Thursday, 1 on Friday. It makes no sense to me.
I'm with you. FGCU, by the way, at Stetson tomorrow afternoon, 2:00. FGCU has dramatically improved their playoff positioning, but they've got 4 games left. They'll be an underdog in this one. Stetson's a game back for first in the A-Sun. This, in theory, is the biggest rivalry game for both schools because, well, this is the closest geographical A-Sun school to FGCU since they're in, DeLand.
David, you mentioned earlier in the starting 5 that St. Mary's won last night. They are one of 2 undefeated teams in conference in college basketball. Not undefeated for the season, just in conference. The other is Yale. Yale's on the road tonight at Penn, laying 6.5.
Mark, you never in the Ivy not bet on the home team. But this would be the game that you bet on the road team and lay the 6.5. They're playing Penn, right?
Yes.
Penn's got 1 win. They're 1-6 in the Ivy. Yale's 7-0. I'm just saying, if you're ever going to bet a road team in the Ivy, tonight would be the night to do it. But I'm not kidding. If the only bets on college basketball you placed all year were you bet Ivy League teams at home in conference games, I would cover anybody's losses if they lost money. Honestly.
Well, what you're saying is Princeton laying 12.5 against Brown tonight's a good bet.
Mark, I would do it blindly. Honestly. I would do it blindly. You just bet home teams in the Ivy. Been documented over 40 years. It's unbelievable the advantage that they have in the Ivy at home. And they play back-to-back, too. Ivy plays Friday, Saturday games. So let me tell you, if you don't bet the home teams Friday, you definitely bet the home team Saturday. Because the teams are getting on a bus and they're showing up in the middle of the night. And, I mean, road teams get crushed on Saturdays in the Ivy.
I just bet 2 home Ivy League teams for tonight.
Okay. You didn't bet Penn, though, did you?
No, I bet Cornell and Princeton.
Okay. Just saying.
There we go. Now I'm fired up.
There you go.
I got something to do with softball practice tonight. Follow Ivy League basketball.
The only named teams in action tonight, Georgetown and Nova. Villanova at Georgetown tonight. Otherwise, it's all small schools in action on a Friday night. I will say college baseball season gets underway tonight. And if you're remotely interested in FGCU, I think the game's televised because they're at 4th-ranked TCU. And, I mean, I know that at the very least it would be, I think, on an ESPN Plus, but I'm going to look that up because I think it's televised somewhere.
Wow. FGCU baseball at TCU. College baseball season, as David mentioned, gets started tonight. Do you had a quick scouting review on FGCU? Because I have no clue how they're going to be this year.
Well, they're not going to be as deep a lineup as they were. Last year's lineup was the best lineup in school history. Big 12 Network, ESPN Plus, by the way, FGCU 7:30 at TCU. If their pitching stays healthy, they're a top 2 at worst 3 team in the league and a strong contender for the NCAA tournament. They have a really good schedule this year too. Like Miami's back on the schedule and what have you. They have a lot of non-conference opportunities, Mark, to pick up some really valuable RPI points.
All right. If you're FGCU, do you break the unwritten rules then? I'm being serious here because in college baseball during midweek, you're not supposed to pitch your good pitchers against the Miamis of the world. Don't you have to if you're trying to make the tournament?
No, because they'll never schedule you again. You do it one time and you're done.
One of the dumbest unwritten rules in the world. You're bringing in quality opponents to play, and you're going to get fans that show up, but let's throw the number 5 starter because we can't throw a number 1 starter.
Well, that's only midweek. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday game. Like FGCU will throw their top 3 starters this weekend against TCU's top 3.
Right. But when they play the Wednesday game against the Canes, they throw a 3 or 4 starter because that's the unwritten college baseball rule.
Yeah, or a 4 or 5 starter. Yeah. Yeah, because you got your weekend guys, and they pitch Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you just do the best you can midweek. Yes. Yep. That's how it goes. You do it one time, they don't schedule you. You're done.
And they're really important wins.
Yes, they are. The RPI points for a road win in college baseball, massive. Have a great weekend. Best of on Monday. We're back live Tuesday.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence.